My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 276, I Leave My Mother to You. Plaza Hotel. At the wedding. Dad, Ross is over there. Go talk to him. Monica saw that the atmosphere was not right, and quickly sent her parents away. You are so nosy. After Monica's parents left, Monica's mother complained. Why, have you been a man enough, or have you noticed that there is something wrong with Ross, so you want to know more? Of course not, Monica's father said depressedly. I am just curious as a normal person, and I don't even have the chance to pretend that I don't mind. This Adam used to be able to keep up with my humor. Why is he like this time? You are being witty without considering the occasion. Adam is Chandler's chief best man, so of course he has to stand on Chandler's side and speak for his mother. Monica's mother said, and this is your daughter's wedding. We never thought that there would be such an important moment on this day. We also spent Monica's wedding fund. Someone is willing to marry your daughter and pay for the wedding. You don't laugh secretly, but you make the mother uncomfortable. What on earth are you thinking? Monica's father was stunned by the retort, as if it was really like this. Stop being in a daze. Monica's mother looked at her husband in a daze and became more and more angry. Go and see Ross. I hope this wedding doesn't irritate him. After all, he has been married and divorced 3 times. Come on. Monica's father came back to his senses and said indifferently, what's the matter? He is not a woman. How can he be so fragile? Before he finished speaking, he saw his wife staring at him. Then he realized that no one appreciated his humor again, so he had to put his hand on his mouth and pretend to zip it up. Thank you. After Monica's parents left, Nora's eyes fell on Adam. You're welcome. Adam put his hand on Chandler and smiled. Nora looked at her son, who had been exercising for many years and looked younger and more energetic. He was wearing a custom-made dress that made him look more handsome. She said with emotion, as Chandler's mother, I still want to thank you for everything you have done for Chandler. I am his best man. Adam smiled and said, this is what I should do. Hello, everyone. At this time, a familiar voice came. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw Chandler's father, dressed in a black silk dress, walking over enchantingly. Nora's watery eyes froze instantly. Hi, Dad. Chandler greeted him with a wry smile. Although he had already opened up his heart with his parents, he felt a little complicated when he officially introduced such an enchanting father in front of 128 relatives and friends at a wedding. Hi, Mr. Bing. Monica almost said the wrong thing and was embarrassed. Chandler's father Helena didn't care. She smiled and looked at his ex-wife, sizing up her tight golden bodysuit. She said with some envy, Nora, don't you think you shouldn't wear it like this at your age? Don't you think you shouldn't wear it like this because you have something extra? Nora said back, with her hands on her hips, I'm the same as you now. I don't have the thing in the way anymore. Helena was used to being criticized for this. When she was a drag queen in Las Vegas, she often complained about herself. Nora's ridicule was nothing to her. Hi, Adam. Hi, Mr. Bing. Adam smiled. Just call me Helena. Chandler's father threw a wink at Adam. It's going to be bad. Adam's mouth twitched, and he secretly said it was not good. Charles Dilly Bing. As expected, Nora was immediately angry. Remember your identity. Adam is Chandler's best man and best friend. If you still love your son, put away your coquettish look. In the United States, calling someone by their full name, especially with their middle name, means they are really angry. For example, Sheldon's mother usually dotes on Sheldon, but when she gets angry, as soon as she says Sheldon Lee Cooper, Sheldon immediately shouts yes, madam. Before Helena eloped with a man, she was still called Charles, and when she was Nora's husband, she had seen Nora's expression more than once, and she should have been immune to it. But that was more than 10 years ago. Now, more than 10 years later, seeing Nora like this again, and that anger seemed to be more intense than in his memory, he suddenly felt guilty and couldn't say anything to fight back with confidence. Don't get excited. Helena looked at everyone awkwardly, Of course I love Chandler. I am just sincerely grateful for Adam's help to Chandler. I have no other intentions, Monica. Chandler held his forehead with his hand. Having a headache, Mr. Bing, please come over here. I will introduce my parents to you. Monica hurried forward and gestured for Helena to follow her. Helena naturally left this embarrassing place. Adam, I'm sorry. Chandler apologized. My father is like this. It's okay. Adam patted Chandler, but his eyes looked at Nora. He is used to performing in Las Vegas, and he just unconsciously put himself in it. I think he definitely didn't mean it. He loves you and will never do anything to hurt you again. Mom. Chandler nodded, looked at Adam gratefully, and then looked at Nora. I'm fine. Nora forced a smile and said, today is your good day. We are all very happy. Nothing can destroy this happiness, except that you are unhappy. I am very happy, Chandler said self-deprecatingly. As long as you are happy, I will be even happier. Excuse me, I'm going to the bathroom. Nora turned her head away. Mrs. Bing, let me take you there. Adam took the initiative to say, yes, let Adam take you there. Chandler nodded and whispered in Adam's ear, my mother is in your hands. Take good care of her. Adam's mouth twitched, although he knew that Chandler meant for him to take good care of Nora before the wedding, just like Monica took care of his father Helena. Why did this sound so weird? Mrs. Bing, this way. Adam led Nora out of the wedding hall. When they reached a place where there was no one, Nora couldn't help but shout, Adam. Mrs. Bing. Adam interrupted immediately, we're in the bathroom. As he said that, he winked at her. Nora was startled, her eyes dimmed. She looked at Adam deeply, stretched out her hand to push the door. Her hand touched the bathroom door, and the door was pulled open from the inside. Amanda. Adam smiled and greeted, and then introduced the two parties. This is Chandler's mother Nora. Nora, this is Monica's grandmother Amanda. Hello, Nora. Hello, Amanda. Nora forced a smile, shook hands with Monica's grandmother, watched Adam and Amanda leave, then walked into the bathroom, leaned against the wall, put her hand on her chest, and calmed her violently beating heart. Chapter 277. Dad, you are beautiful too. In the bathroom, that was close. Nora covered her chest and cried in her heart. If someone saw this, all her efforts and persistence over the years would be in vain. It's obvious that Chandler would be very shocked if he knew that she had a relationship with Adam, even before Adam knew Chandler. If something like this happened on Chandler's wedding day, she would be too ashamed to see her son again. Originally, when Chandler and her reconciled, she had talked to Adam and completely cut off the relationship from then on. Although it was difficult, she did it. Until, damn Charles. Nora gritted her teeth and cursed. If Helena hadn't flirted with Adam, her emotions would never have gotten out of control. Back then, in order to retaliate against each other, the scene of the two competing for the male servant was too unforgettable. So when she saw Helena's expression, even though she knew that Adam couldn't have any relationship with Helena, she still exploded and couldn't bear it at all. After all, Adam is different. And if she hadn't just exploded and lost control of her emotions, she wouldn't have almost exposed this secret. Fortunately, Adam seemed to have discovered it in advance and stopped her. But how did he find out? Or did he not find out at all, but just didn't want to have anything to do with her anymore? Disliked her for being old? For a moment, Nora was confused. Damn Charles. Nora couldn't help but curse again. Even if Adam had that idea, she wouldn't blame him. After all, she was indeed 7 years older than before. Adam was so outstanding that he had no shortage of young and beautiful women. So all this was Helena's fault. Over there. What? Adam received a call from Joey. You can't make it in time? The guy who acted opposite me couldn't get into the role. How I wish he could be like before, spitting saliva in my face with excitement. Joey complained, because he can't get into the role, I can't leave. Although the wedding is important, your career is equally important. Don't worry, just let it go. Adam comforted. You're not yelling at me? Joey was stunned. Don't be ridiculous. I'm not Monica. Adam laughed. By the way, Monica, Joey cried out with a headache. If she knew I couldn't get there on time to officiate their wedding, she would definitely kill me. No, Adam smiled meaningfully. I promise. How do you promise? Joey didn't react yet, Because her favorite pastor is here. Adam laughed. What? Joey shouted. But I'm the pastor. Call them over now. I'll be their witness on the phone. Stop joking, Adam interrupted. You know how much Monica values the wedding, don't you? They got married early just because you wanted to be their witness? Or they listened to you on the phone? Or you rushed back and came to be their witness without changing your costume? You are satisfied, but have you considered how Monica and Chandler feel? But I really want to be their witness, Joey said aggrievedly. You and Ross are the best men, and I'm the pastor, isn't it? Plans can't keep up with changes, Adam advised. If you can arrive early and change your clothes, I can arrange for you to go. But if you can't do either of these, I'm sorry, you can only participate in the wedding, but not as a witness. I'll be there in time. Joey hung up the phone. Problem solved. Adam smiled at Rachel, who asked him to answer the phone. You've been ready for a long time. Rachel was stunned. Of course. Adam shrugged and said, don't you know Joey's temper? How could I not prepare more for such a big event? Rachel's face suddenly darkened, but she remembered that she was the same as Joey. As the chief bridesmaid, Monica was always on guard against her, as if she was afraid that she would mess up. Well, she did mess up a few things, but they were all small things. 6 o'clock. The wedding officially began. Chandler took Nora's hand in one hand and Helena's hand in the other, and walked into the hall with the music. Our son is getting married. Look at you, so handsome. Even if they didn't like each other, the two people holding their son's hands at this moment sighed. Mom, you look beautiful today. Chandler tilted his head and praised. Ahem. Over there. Helena's cough was too obvious. Chandler twitched his lips, looked over, and said helplessly, Dad, you look beautiful today too. Helena was satisfied and let go, letting Chandler walk up to the altar of the wedding and sit in the guest seats with Nora. The music continued. Adam walked in with Rachel on his arm, followed by Ross with Phoebe on his arm. It feels so good, Ross muttered quietly. What's wrong? Phoebe asked. This is my first time walking on the red carpet of a wedding, and I know I will never get divorced this time. Ross laughed at himself. You are so proud. Rachel, who was walking in front, couldn't help but complain. The four walked to the altar and separated. Adam walked behind Chandler, and Ross walked behind Adam. Rachel and Phoebe walked to the opposite side, waiting for the bride to arrive. Where's Joey? Chandler turned his head and asked in a low voice. He can't make it. Don't worry. This is Monica's favorite pastor. Adam leaned over and explained in a low voice. I think Monica prefers him to be the witness. I think so too. Chandler couldn't help but laugh. Joey was the pastor because he strongly requested it. Monica and Chandler just couldn't refuse. In fact, neither of them wanted it to be like this. Monica pursued perfection, while Chandler knew Joey's weakness in doing things. He was worried that Joey couldn't even give a good speech. He didn't care, but he had to care about the bride's thoughts. He spent many years of savings on this wedding, just to let Monica get the A-level wedding she dreamed of. It would be a pity if he failed in the simplest and most important witness link. It's good now. The music changed. Monica, wearing a wedding dress and holding a bouquet of flowers, walked in slowly accompanied by her parents. Everyone stood up. In a Western wedding, the bride is the most important. You can see it from the treatment. Why did Barney want to sneak into the wedding so much? It was because there were beautiful single bridesmaids and many beautiful female relatives at the wedding, and what he liked most was to use the name of the bride to ask for the phone numbers of female relatives that he couldn't get before. With a sentence of "This is what the bride wants," most female relatives would write it to him without asking. Moreover, in the atmosphere of a wedding, the psychological defenses of the women are at their lowest, and their desire for love is at its highest. At this time, the chances of casting a wide net and catching more fish are higher than on Christmas Eve. Chapter 278. One night is not a big deal. Plaza Hotel. During the wedding. Hey, I really hope your grandmother can live to see this. Monica's mother sighed quietly while walking on the red carpet. Grandma is over there. Monica couldn't help but remind her. I'm talking about my mother. Monica's mother sneered. Not that old woman. Monica was speechless and couldn't help but look at her father. This is the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Monica's father blinked at her and said leisurely, Congratulations, dear. Monica's mother kissed her, took the initiative to leave the red carpet, and sat in the guest seat. "We love you." Monica's father also kissed her cheek and left. That is now. If it were 3 years ago, Monica's parents would definitely not be like this, and would probably be like a crosstalk. For example, Monica's mother would probably say, "I never thought our little baby would get married one day." Monica's father would probably agree, "Yes, I never thought it would happen. In my impression, she's fine alone." Various humorous words that attack Monica are blurted out. In the past few years, Monica has used her own strength to confront her mother several times, and finally reversed the situation, so that her parents no longer look down on her like before. Of course, this also depends on the strength of her brother Ross. As the pride of her parents, Ross's performance in recent years is really average, especially after 2 flash marriages and divorces, and he was fired by the Museum of Prehistoric Biology. And she used to work as an independent contractor for funeral banquets and made a lot of money. Although she gave up later, she also became a chef in a high-end restaurant, with high income, not so busy, and status. Later, she fell in love with Chandler and got married. She was successful in both career and love, and was very happy. Comparing the two, her parents can no longer praise Ross while belittling her as before. "You look so beautiful." Chandler walked down the altar to pick up Monica. Monica smiled happily, then looked at the pastor on the altar. "Pastor John?" Adam found it in advance. He knew that Joey would have problems. Chandler whispered in her ear, "Are you satisfied?" "Great," Monica said with suppressed excitement. "Shall we start the wedding?" Pastor John smiled. "Okay." Monica and Chandler walked side by side to the altar and stood opposite each other. "Dear guests," Pastor John began to go through the process. "That's my line." At this time, Joey hurried in, still wearing a World War II uniform with artificial blood stains on it. "Don't make trouble." Adam walked over quickly, stopped Joey, and without waiting for him to speak, he pressed him to the guest seat in the back row and whispered, "Have you changed your clothes? Have you brought your speech? If you don't have anything, just watch carefully. This is Monica and Chandler's wedding. It's not your stage." The pain in his shoulder made Joey's impulse dissipate a lot. Adam's series of questions made him speechless. Seeing Adam staring at him fiercely, he had to sit there aggrieved. "Continue." Seeing that he had calmed Joey, Adam walked back quickly and smiled at Pastor John. Monica looked at Adam gratefully. Joey came to her wedding in such a hurry. Although she knew Joey's intentions, she was still a little unhappy in her heart. The bloody World War II uniform was completely incompatible with her wedding. Monica Geller, are you willing to make this man your husband, whether in sickness or health, or for any other reason? Love him, take care of him, respect him, accept him, and be loyal to him forever until the end of your life? Pastor John asked. "I do." Monica looked into Chandler's eyes and said solemnly. "Chandler Bing, do you want this woman to be your wife? Love her, take care of her, respect her, accept her, and be loyal to her forever until the end of your life, whether in sickness or health, or for any other reason?" Pastor John looked at Chandler again. "I do." Chandler looked at Monica and said affectionately, "Bride, please take the oath." Pastor John said. Rachel quickly handed the wedding vow card to Monica. "Chandler, since I was a child, I have always wondered if I could find my Prince Charming, my soul mate. 2 years ago, at another wedding, I sought comfort from my friends, but I found everything I had been looking for." Monica took the wedding vow card, looked at it, and looked at Chandler affectionately, "And now, we are here, welcoming the future together. I just want to be with you, my Prince Charming, my soul mate, my friend." Listening to the wedding vows, Adam sighed in his heart. This once again proves that the West values friendship. Friendship and love are more fragrant when they are mixed together. Isn't it the same for childhood sweethearts? Are those who pursue the ultimate love and do not allow any other things to be mixed in, are they really happier than the couple in front of them? Adam doesn't think so. It's still the old saying of Dream and Weak, don't do everything too much, otherwise the relationship will end early. Don't pursue extremes. Groom your vows, Pastor John reminded. Adam hurriedly handed the wedding vow cards to Chandler. Chandler read the Spider-Man version of the affectionate confession. As expected, the effect was great, and the happiness in Monica's eyes was about to melt. In this life, with Adam, Chandler did not run away from the marriage twice, and Joey did not insist on being the witness and let Chandler run away from the marriage slip. In Monica's wedding vows, she naturally did not deliberately add a sarcasm of "unless you don't want to" at the end, exposing her unhappiness. At this moment, she really felt that everything was too perfect. This was the dream wedding she had been looking forward to since she was a child. The next step was to exchange rings. Rachel handed the wedding ring to Monica, and Monica put it on Chandler. Adam handed the wedding ring to Chandler, and Chandler put the ring on the ring finger of Monica's left hand. "I now declare you officially a legal couple," Pastor John announced loudly. "Groom, you can kiss the bride." Chandler and Monica kissed passionately. Bang bang bang. Adam was the first to applaud. Everyone followed suit. The music played by the band changed at the right time. The scene was warm and warm. Adam subconsciously glanced at the whole audience, and saw Rachel and Phoebe staring at Chandler and Monica hugging each other, their eyes blurred, as if mist was emerging. Most of the female relatives in the guest seats had similar expressions, and they were obviously imagining themselves becoming Monica. The routine summarized by Barney was indeed sharp. Adam quickly withdrew his gaze. There were many beautiful women looking at him, but with Nora around, he couldn't do anything. It's not that he wanted to resume his secret relationship with Nora, but he had basic respect for Nora. It's not bad for one night. P.S. Thanks to Yi Dan and Roger Aterofas for the reward. Chapter 279. Adam, your incident happened and the wedding ceremony is over. Everyone moved to the banquet hall. Adam and his friends stayed with the newlyweds to take wedding photos. Chandler and Monica stood in the middle. Adam stood on the other side of Chandler. Rachel stood on the other side of Monica. Phoebe stood on the other side of Adam, and Ross stood on the other side of Rachel. As for Joey, who was wearing a bloody World War II uniform, he half knelt in front of Chandler, enjoying the white eyes of the bride Monica, and raised 2 thumbs up, with his eyes wide open, with an expression that said "I look good on camera." Click, click, click. The photographer took several photos in a row, and asked the bride, groom and best man to take photos together, and then the groom took photos with bridesmaids, and all kinds of photos. Finally, everyone came to the banquet hall. The band played on the small stage. In front of the banquet under the stage, there was an open space, which was a dance floor reserved for people to dance. "Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to introduce you to Mr. and Mrs. Chandler Bing." When Chandler and Monica walked in hand, the lead singer of the band introduced them solemnly. Clap, clap, clap. There was another round of applause from everyone. "I want to give you a gift before we go to the dance floor." Chandler smiled at Monica as he walked. "What gift?" "Let me make it clear that I won't put my hand into your trouser pocket in front of everyone," Monica teased. "The new Mrs. Bing is different from the old Mrs. Bing. I don't want to leave such an open impression on people when I first appear." Chandler twitched his lips. "No, I went to dance lessons for 6 weeks. Adam found the best coach for me. I hope you will never forget this moment." "Oh, you are so considerate." Monica touched Chandler's face and said with emotion, "Are you willing to dance with me for the first time as a couple?" Chandler invited him gentlemanly. "Of course." Monica smiled. "Let alone dancing. Even if you ask me to pick your pocket now, I would be willing." "You are getting more and more humorous," Chandler complained. "Don't you see whose wife I am?" Monica pulled Chandler to the dance floor and smiled. Chandler tilted his head, thinking of the couple look mentioned by Adam, and couldn't help but laugh. Squeak. Then he couldn't laugh anymore and almost fell down. "What's wrong?" Monica asked in surprise. "My new shoes are too slippery." Chandler stood there and didn't dare to move. "Then you can't dance?" Monica said disappointedly. "Don't worry, we have Adam." Chandler couldn't bear to disappoint his newlywed wife, and blurted out, "He can handle anything." "Yes." Monica's eyes lit up. "I'll go find him." Chandler carefully moved out of the dance floor. "No need, I know where he is." Monica pouted and shouted to one side, "Adam." Chandler looked over and saw the women gathered together. Ross and Joey stood outside with unhappy faces, and suddenly he understood. As Monica shouted, as expected, Adam's face appeared among the women. "Excuse me, the bride has something to ask me." Adam hurried away. Seeing this, the women could not stop him and could only move aside. There was no other way, The bride was the most important. "What's wrong?" Adam breathed a sigh of relief, took 2 steps at a time, came to them and asked, "Chandler's new shoes are too slippery? He can't dance." Monica said distressedly, "That's easy." Adam took a look at Chandler's new shoes, thought for a while, and came up with an idea. "I'll switch with you, our shoes are the same size." "Then what will you do?" Chandler said embarrassedly. "It doesn't matter." Adam took off his shoes and smiled. "No matter how slippery the place is, I will open it. Dancing is not a problem for me." After changing, Adam slid and jumped a few times, smart and handsome, and Chandler didn't dare to move because of the slip just now. "See, Adam, you are really amazing." Chandler and Monica admired. "You two should dance. Chandler has worked hard for this." Adam stopped dancing and teased, "I believe you will be very satisfied." "I am looking forward to it." Monica put her hand on Chandler's shoulder and started to dance the wedding dance. Chandler changed Adam's shoes and stopped slipping. The confidence he had when practicing dancing came back. He hugged his new wife Monica and started to spin and jump. Dancing is actually very suitable for couples. Under the dim light, the two hugged each other, looked into each other's eyes, smelled each other's breath, swayed with the lyrical music, and rubbed against each other. It was very exciting. This is one of the best foreplay. "But if you are not a couple, Adam, let's dance, okay?" A pretty girl rushed to Adam's front and invited him before everyone else. "Of course, Merlin." Adam could only greet her with a smile. This is Monica's cousin. As someone from Chandler's side, he naturally couldn't refuse the invitation of the bride's family. Merlin took the initiative to hug Adam, and looked at the group of girls who were a step slower with a proud look, which made the group of girls hate it. "Do you have the honor to ask you to dance?" Ross invited one of the girls. "My feet are a little uncomfortable, sorry." The pretty girl stared at the dance floor and refused perfunctorily. Ross's face darkened again and again. This was not the first time tonight. As for what these girls said, he didn't believe a word, dare to say it more perfunctorily. The steps he took towards Adam just now didn't show any discomfort at all. Before the wedding, his parents talked to him, and he threatened Chandler as a big brother. The confidence that disappeared and was ridiculed by everyone came back. According to his parents, he is the proud Dr. Ross Geller. He can threaten anyone and beat anyone he wants. But he didn't expect that the girls didn't buy it. All the pretty girls stared at Adam. In order to wait for Adam, they didn't even give him a chance to be a spare tire. Too much. Nora looked at this scene, a little sad, but still smiled. While spinning and jumping, Adam's peripheral vision naturally caught Nora's eye, but he couldn't leave at all. As soon as the song ended, people came over immediately. They were all relatives and friends, so it was easy to refuse them. After dancing for half an hour, Adam left the dance floor on the pretext of being tired and taking a rest. He pretended to go to the bathroom to find Nora, who had already left. As the chief best man, he naturally knew the accommodation of the guests. Relying on his extraordinary hearing and sharp body movements, Adam quietly came to Nora's room and knocked on the door. Half an hour later, Adam left and returned to the party, and was immediately called over by Phoebe. Chandler, Monica, Rachel and Phoebe. The four of them stood together. Phoebe suddenly shouted, "Adam, you've been exposed." Chapter 280. Stop messing around. Stop joking. What can happen to me? Adam's heart tightened, but his face remained calm. At this moment, Phoebe asked this, and his first reaction was of course that he was seen meeting Nora. This is the worst outcome, although he did not do anything with Nora. After all, what can Adam do in half an hour? I believe everyone knows it, but Adam, a handsome young man, secretly went to find a woman with charm, which is very imaginative. Moreover, they are both writers, and Nora is the queen of colors, who has written many lube novels with similar plots. As Nora's senior readers, Rachel and others would probably think about that at the first time. Is the Queen of Colors trying to practice the plot in the book, or accumulate materials for the new book? How can a writer's field trip be called obscene? That's romantic. But Adam doesn't believe this possibility. Because of his hearing and keen senses, he can detect whether there are people nearby, and his eyes are even more sensitive. This is why Nora wanted to talk outside the bathroom before and was interrupted by Adam immediately. With his cautiousness and the fact that all his acquaintances were having fun in the banquet hall, the probability of being discovered was too low. And when Phoebe said this, Adam immediately glanced at Chandler with his peripheral vision. Seeing that he did not have any angry or tangled expression, he felt relieved. Still not admitting it, Phoebe pretended, "Rachel is pregnant. It must be yours, right?" Adam's mouth twitched. "Phoebe," Rachel shouted in dissatisfaction. "What's wrong?" Phoebe said as a matter of course, "You refuse to say who the father of the child is, so we can only rely on guessing. Who else is more suspicious than Adam?" "Why am I the most suspicious?" Adam complained. "Because you are the most handsome and romantic." Phoebe smiled. "Thank you for the compliment." Adam didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "But you forgot the most." "What most?" Phoebe asked curiously. "The most loyal and principled," Adam said seriously. "In terms of relationships between men and women, have you ever seen anyone who is more loyal and principled than me?" Puff. Phoebe and Monica sprayed their wine, and even Rachel, who looked unhappy, couldn't help laughing. "What's so funny?" Adam said seriously. "My love principle is that we are more than friends, less than lovers, and we don't go beyond the rules between friends. I have never changed." "Can you tell me one thing to refute me?" Everyone was speechless. "That's it." Adam smiled and said, "Don't always stare at me changing female friends and think that I am romantic and unprincipled. In fact, there is really no one who is more principled than me." Rachel and others were stunned. When they met Adam's sincere eyes, several people looked away unnaturally. Needless to say, Chandler would have attacked Joey's girlfriend long ago if it weren't for Adam's help. Monica is the same. Although she is now happy with Chandler, it cannot cover up the fact that she secretly sought help from Chandler. Not to mention Rachel. When she was interested in Adam, she used all the conventional means. Super means, ultimate means, and ultimate means to have an indescribable relationship with Adam. As for Phoebe, she also had a criminal record. Monica broke up with her boyfriend, and within a few hours, Phoebe was intimate with him. There are many problems here. It seems that everyone agrees. Adam smiled with satisfaction. Compared with Rachel and the others, he was very superior in his heart. The only flaw was his relationship with Nora. But that was before he met Chandler, and he really didn't recognize Nora as Chandler's mother at the time. After that, there was no indescribable relationship, including just now. It was just a simple reminiscing, and the topic of conversation was more about Chandler. As for playing the fifth level of standing position with Alice behind William and Stephen, he and William and Stephen are not friends at all. So does he need to be polite? If it's not yours, then whose is it? Phoebe changed the subject. Rachel shook her head and said, "Don't ask me. I won't tell you until I tell him first." She was interrupted before she finished her words. "Haha." Adam laughed and said, "Do you even need to ask? It must be Ross's." "How do you know?" Rachel blurted out. Phoebe and the others had guessed that it was Ross before, but she covered it up. But this time Adam's tone was too sure, and she couldn't help but expose it. "It's really Ross's." Phoebe clapped her hands and laughed. Monica covered her mouth and exclaimed, "Come on." Adam shrugged and said, "How long have you two been entangled on and off?" 7 or 8 years, right? Now you are so mysterious again, hiding and refusing to say? There must be something hidden. If it's not Ross's, then whose is it? You must have rolled in bed with each other recently. This old friend has hormones coming up. Help each other, don't be too casual. The probability of mutual help is very different between in-depth communication and no in-depth communication, especially for Rachel and Ross, who have been entangled for so long, and who are still together every day after breaking up. The chances are too high. This is also the reason why Ross's British ex-wife insisted that Ross and Rachel stop seeing each other after she knew the relationship between Rachel and Ross. Even Westerners themselves know the risks involved. What is just friends after breaking up? Absolutely nothing else. That is completely nonsense. According to Leslie Winkle, the romantic female scientist in The Big Bang Theory, we have all seen the distorted face of each other during the indescribable process. Can this be the same as other friends? Okay. Seeing that everyone was looking at her, Rachel had no choice but to say, "It is indeed Ross's, but you are not allowed to leak the news before I tell him in person." "Of course, no problem." Everyone nodded, especially you. Phoebe. Rachel stared at Phoebe. What's wrong with me? Phoebe pretended to be stupid. Humphrey. Rachel snorted coldly. If you hadn't insisted on saying it just now, how could this matter have spread? You can't blame me for this, Phoebe said, wronged. I can't know you're pregnant and still watch you drink champagne. Don't talk about this, Monica interrupted. Rachel, what are you going to do? I don't know. Rachel was entangled and confused. It's not that simple, Adam complained. Confess to Ross, get married and have children. You are not young anymore. Don't bother. Yeah, Monica, who was in a happy marriage, was the first to agree. Ross has been secretly in love with you for 10 years, and then he tossed you for 7 or 8 years. Now you are pregnant with his child. It shows that you have a lot of feelings. Marriage is the best choice. I don't know. Rachel shook her head unconsciously. Seeing this, Adam didn't say much. Rachel and Ross are not Chandler and Monica after all. They are too troublesome. Adam's friends have said what they want, so he doesn't bother to care. Now that Chandler and Monica's bachelorette party and wedding are over, his focus will be on graduation and residency training. Of course, before that, he still has an account to settle. Chapter 281 Adam's Revenge. New York, McAllen Bar. Adam and Matthew were drinking and chatting. Well, isn't this the best man? Adam Duncan, Barney, dressed in a suit, walked in, saw Adam, his eyes lit up, and greeted him in an exaggerated tone. Well, isn't this the unprincipled Barney Stinson? Adam retorted in an even more exaggerated tone. We are all friends. Dad tried to smooth things over as usual, but some people don't consider me a friend. Adam interrupted. After I gave you many warnings, you still tried to ruin my best friend's single night. Can this be erased by saying we are all friends? Barney, you're going too far. Lily was immediately angry when she heard it. Come on, Barney said indifferently. I just want to give him an unforgettable single night. This is my friend's single night. Why should I think about it? Adam sneered. Oh, by the way, you are the kind of person who is selfish and self-centered. I don't want you to think. I just want me to think. Barney, you have gone too far this time. Apologize to Adam quickly, Matthew advised. Adam, are you overreacting a little bit? Dad spoke for Barney. Overreacting? Adam sneered. Oh, do you think this is overreacting? Ted, this is just the beginning. I have said it again and again before, but it has no effect on Barney, such an extremely self-centered person. So do you think I should just talk about it now? What do you want? Barney laughed. His self-esteem, inferiority, and self-respect had long been destroyed in the matter of his first love. Now he has grown up and is completely based on the personality of the elite scum who destroyed his pure love. Playing with the world is his attitude, regardless of whether others want to play or not, whether others will be hurt, and even whether he himself will be hurt. The humblest person is invincible. At this moment, Barney Stinson does have some invincible meaning. Although Matthew and his friends are his chosen good friends, they have only been together for less than a year. In fact, to be honest, the friendship between them is not deep enough to make him give up his attitude towards life. In fact, even after 9 years, he still has not changed for Matthew and his friends. The only one who can really change him is this hot woman. I heard that you like challenges very much. Adam saw that Barney didn't care, and he was mentally prepared for this. He decisively put forward his plan. Are you not afraid of any challenge? That's right. When Barney heard this, his eyes lit up, he tightened his tie, and raised his head and said, Barney Stinson likes to accept challenges the most. Then I will challenge you. Adam smiled and said, do you have the courage to accept it? Just come on, Barney said confidently. Very good, Adam said, my challenge is your most proud project, picking up girls. Within a month, you will randomly select a beautiful girl every night, and we will go up to chat up together. Whoever successfully hits the target the most times will win. Interesting. Barney's eyes lit up and he looked at Adam with admiration. I know, Adam, you and I are the same kind of people. What is the bet for winning or losing? Dad asked. If you lose, you will make a crown for the winner and say I was wrong. I surrender. 100 times in public. Adam smiled and said, there are both material and spiritual bets. How about it? I accept the challenge. Barney chose to accept it without hesitation. He loves all kinds of challenges. This bet is interesting, Lily continued. But I want to add a bet. What? Barney asked. Since there are both material and spiritual bets, I hope that after this bet, we will forget the previous unpleasantness. Lily smiled and said, after all, we are all good friends. No problem. Adam smiled. His feelings for Barney are complicated. Deep down, he not only didn't hate Barney, but actually liked him quite a bit. But in the matter of Chandler's single night, he was very angry about Barney's lawless behavior, so he had to teach him a big lesson to calm down this idea. When this big lesson fell on Barney, Adam believed that Barney would be more restrained in his future behavior. I have no problem with that either. Of course, Barney also saw Lily's good intentions. There is an additional condition, Adam reminded. In this month, you can only randomly choose a beauty every night. The losing party is not allowed to find other women, not even dancers. Otherwise, it will be automatically considered a failure. Haha. Barney couldn't help laughing and said, you are really confident. He was such an old man that he saw through the problem hidden in Adam's condition at a glance. Adam was clearly confident that he could completely crush him and prevent him from touching women for a month. In addition to the bet, he punished him. For men like him and Giseline, it was simply impossible to sleep without indescribable things every night. Not to mention a month, even a week would be a great torment. This punishment is even worse than saying I was wrong, I give up 100 times in public. Because this is not only a physical torture, but also a huge mental torture. This is a naked mockery. In the field you are most proud of, you are actually not good enough. As for making the crown, it costs a lot, but for Adam and Barney, it is a piece of cake. Do you dare to bet? Adam raised his eyebrows and said, or is it like before? Clearly promise well, but secretly did something afterward? Barney paused, facing Adam's naked mockery. He suddenly regretted his previous broken promise. Adam's status in his heart soared when he could propose such a bet. He is an interesting friend worth playing with. At least when he was with Ted, whom he admired the most. Ted only passively accepted his bet and never took the initiative to provoke such an interesting bet. It would be a pity if the other party always looked down on him because of his previous indifference. Of course I dare to bet, Barney said seriously, and I will never cheat. Lily and the others will be the notaries. I'll bet my reputation. Very good. Adam smiled and said, then the bet will officially take effect. Tomorrow night is the first night. Great. Barney was very excited and rubbed his hands and said, I have a feeling that this will be a legendary, wait for it, date, legendary bet. I believe it, Adam said playfully, but it's hard to say who is the legend and who is the villain. I'm a little excited. Lily's eyes were a little demonic. Me too. Matthew also got excited. Haha. Ted smiled reluctantly. In the past, he looked down on Barney's games and was always half-hearted every time. But now seeing Barney and Adam having so much fun, he felt a little jealous. Chapter 282, Shinbout ends on the next night. McAllen Bar. Wow. As soon as Adam entered the door, Lily and others exclaimed, Barney is sure to lose. Lily's eyes instantly became demonic, and she muttered to herself, Adam's own conditions are there, and now he has been carefully designed by a professional designer. His clothes and appearance are all top-notch. 1 + 1 is far from being comparable to 2. The effect is also obvious. Such a dazzling Adam not only makes Lily's eyes demonic, but also the eyes of other women in the bar shine. Not only women. Barney hasn't come yet. Adam sat down and smiled. If I were him, why would I come? I would just admit defeat. Ted said enviously, by the way, is this considered cheating? He looks honest, but in recent years he has actually lived up to his name. He is comparable to his brother Teddy. Adam's second sister was named too early. If she knew that the name would be ruined like that later, she would probably change her name like Adam. Seeing such an Adam, instinctive rejection is inevitable. How did I cheat? Adam glanced at him. You are too rich. This outfit is obviously made with money. Ted smiled awkwardly. Where did you get the money? Didn't I earn it myself? Adam smiled and said, I remember Barney's favorite saying is, suit up. Is there any cheap suit he wears? Don't even think about it if it's not worth $10,000. Why doesn't he wear cheap clothes to pick up girls? Matthew was going to do an internship in the future. He had holes in his pants and needed to be blackened with ink. Barney urged him to go to his tailor shop and made him a custom suit. He said it was 30% off, but it still cost $4,000. Even if Barney cheated him and didn't give him a 30% discount, the original price was still $4,000 or more. This is just a suit. Shoes, ties and other things are not small amounts, not to mention the watch on the wrist that represents a man's identity. $10,000 for a suit is definitely an understatement. Without this foundation, could Barney really catch so many beauties with such a frivolous expression? Stop kidding. With this foundation, you are elegant and chic. Without this foundation, you are vulgar and wretched. That's the reality. Yes, the money you earn yourself is part of your charm. Lily agreed. As long as you don't spend money directly on it, there is no problem at all. Then she looked at Ted. Besides, Barney has spent money directly on it many times. Haven't you forgotten that he often goes to charity for poor female college students? I was just talking casually. Ted was embarrassed. You must supervise him within this month. Adam did not continue to confront Ted, and smiled and changed the subject. Ted is a guy who is more hateful than a scumbag to good women, but he is still very loyal and good to his friends. Otherwise, with the disgusting things he did to those good women, Lily would not only beat him, but would definitely alienate him or even break up with him directly. Although Adam has the right to despise Ted, he is not a perfect person, so he will naturally not foolishly pursue his friends to be perfect. Because no one is perfect, don't worry, we will definitely supervise him well. Lily was the first to agree. Matthew also nodded with a smile. Ted twitched the corner of his mouth and forced a smile. Well done, Adam. You're suited up. Barney walked in and saw it. His eyes suddenly lit up and he was very excited. Ted, see, this is the outfit for picking up girls. Sorry, your wingman mission is lifted for this month. You can move freely. I never thought about being a wingman. Ted was depressed and sour. Let's start. You pick a beauty. Adam smiled and said, I'll let you go first. If you succeed, go to the bathroom first, and then I'll go. Of course, if you fail directly, then I'll take over. What if both of you fail? Matthew asked curiously. Come on. Barney stretched out his hand and slid it on his suit, indicating that it was impossible for such a handsome man to fail. I'll let you go first, Barney said confidently. Did you see the red-haired girl over there at the bar? She's the one. Are you sure? Adam took a look and found that she had a good appearance and figure, so he agreed with his goal. He is so steady that he will not leave such obvious loopholes. If Barney loses, he might find an ugly woman who no one likes as his target. Adam will definitely not be able to do it, but Barney, in order to win, don't doubt it, he can do anything. In the future, Barney will challenge himself. For Matthew's final grade, he will challenge Matthew's female law professor, codenamed Jaguar. He will be completely broken and shaky until he is hospitalized, and he will not admit defeat, just for the Jaguar female professor to give him an A grade. If Barney still does not restrain himself after the bet, Adam will prepare to find a few more such Jaguars to hit him, so that he can understand what is crazy, what is a saint, and who is Pinu's kidney. Shimbaut. Of course, Barney tightened his tie. Think of this as the care of the seniors for the juniors. Just don't regret it. Adam interrupted him, said, and got up and walked towards the bar. The game begins, Barney said excitedly. But before he could observe and comment on the live broadcast, Adam had already made a successful gesture and turned to go to the bathroom, and the red-haired beauty also picked up her handbag, as if she was about to leave. Successful? Barney was also stunned for a moment. This is the charm of Adam, Lily murmured. Barney, act quickly, Ted reminded. Otherwise you will lose the first night. Right. Barney was startled, quickly got up, packed up, and walked over with a glass of wine, showing the red-haired beauty the brightest smile. Hi, I'm Barney. Get out. The red-haired beauty glared at him. My boyfriend will be out soon. Barney's mouth twitched. Adam had just known her for a few seconds. How could she be his boyfriend? Good job, Adam. Duncan, you win the first round. Seeing the red-haired beauty urging him to leave with a look of disgust, Barney had no choice but to return to his seat, take a sip of wine, and shrug at Lily and the others. He did not feel frustrated at all, and his narrowed eyes were smiling. In his opinion, this game was becoming more and more interesting. Adam came out of the bathroom and saw the red-haired beauty waiting for him there. He smiled slightly, not surprised at all. Before leaving the bar with her, he pointed his index and middle fingers at Barney and Lily's eyes, indicating that Barney could not pick up girls tonight, and supervise himself and Lily and the others. Chapter 283 Barney in pain. Get lost, get lost, get lost. Woo. In the next few nights, Barney was hit hard one after another, so that he almost turned into a crying monster. This night, Barney, you can't let Adam go first again, otherwise you really won't have any chance. Ted reminded, this kind of thing always requires a first come first served. The first to go has the advantage, and you are playing a fair game, so you naturally have to take turns to go first. You always let Adam go first, just looking down on him. This won't work. You're right. Barney had this step and immediately rolled down. I'll go first this time. Lily and Matthew sat aside, smiling but not saying anything. When Adam arrived, he heard Barney's words and smiled. Of course, no problem. Okay, this time it's my turn to show my real skills. Barney stood up, tightened his tie, and was in high spirits. Have you seen Barney? Barney walked behind a blonde beauty, patted her lightly, and used his most commonly used routine. In the past, he cooperated with Ted and other partners, introduced each other, took pictures of the beauties and left, leaving the beauties to his partners. Now, in order to compete fairly with Adam, he can only talk to himself. The blonde looked back and saw that Barney was alone, and was a little stunned. Barney Stinson. Barney had already extended his hand and smiled. Amy. The blonde reacted and saw that Barney's temperament, clothing, was not very ordinary, expensive, so she chose to accept Barney's alternative way of greeting and extended her hand with a smile. In the United States, people called Amy, Emily, and Emma are similar to Xiaoming and Xiaohong in the East. There shouldn't be too many. Just look at how many Emmys Adam has met. So, Amy, do you like magic? Barney used his best trick. It's okay. Amy shrugged. As soon as the voice fell, a spark flew from Barney's right hand to his left hand. Barney opened his left palm, and it was written on it, "It's okay." "Oh, my God," Amy exclaimed. Another spark flew to his right hand. Barney opened his right palm and it said, "Oh, my God." Then, Amy began to pester Barney to ask about the secrets of magic, and was often amused by Barney. It seems that Barney won this round. Ted smiled with relief. Haha. Adam smiled. It's not over yet. After a long time, Barney secretly made a successful gesture to Adam and others, and got up to go to the bathroom. It's my turn. Adam took a sip of beer, got up and walked towards the blonde beauty Amy. Hi. Barney walked to the corner and stopped, without going to the bathroom at all. He agreed with Ted's words. When two top masters fight, the first move is indeed very important. In his heart, Adam's level has been recognized by him. His first move was very perfect. Now, he wants to watch Adam's good show. Then, his face darkened. However, Adam's simple greeting of hi completely delighted the blonde beauty. Her infatuated eyes told him that Adam's hi was more useful than the magic tricks he had practiced so hard. Seeing that blonde Amy was about to follow Adam, Barney could no longer bear it, and walked back quickly to stop her. Amy. He wanted to confront Adam head-on and let blonde Amy choose. Although he didn't want to admit it, he liked the restraint of morality for the first time, and it was him who was the first to do so. Barney, I have something else to do. Let's talk next time. Blonde Amy said casually, took Adam's hand, and walked out, as if she was not the one who was amused by Barney before. Adam smiled at Barney and left. No, Barney shouted unwillingly as he watched the two people leave. It was obviously him first. The days that followed became Barney's nightmare. No matter how he prepared his tactics, he could not beat Adam's greeting of hi. He was about to explode after constantly failing in the field he was most proud of, coupled with the hormones accumulated in Giselin's physique. No, no, no. These were the words he shouted the most. Adam, Why don't we just forget it? Lily couldn't bear it and said, Barney is going crazy after losing. Yes, Ted agreed. You might as well let him win a round. No, Adam shook his head and said, this is a bet, a fair competition, and deliberately losing is the biggest humiliation for him. But you have already won, Ted said dissatisfiedly. What's wrong with letting him win a round to slow it down? This is one of his punishments. Adam smiled and said, when the bet was made, he also knew it. I believe that after this time, he will no longer be self-centered. As long as I want, he doesn't care what others think. But before that, we must ensure that the lesson is deep enough. Then, he told the story of Liu Xiaobu and Zhang Wei. Ted, do you think Barney can do such a thing? Adam asked. Ted was speechless. Why ask? Barney is 100% capable of doing such a thing, and it's not even accidental like Liu Xiaobu. Then are you willing to be Zhang Wei? Adam asked again. Ted twitched his lips, but still didn't want to answer. Of course he didn't want to. If he married the person he loved and was ruined by Barney, he would probably go crazy. That's right, the story of Liu Xiaobu and Zhang Wei that Adam told them was modified. In this version of the story, Zili broke up with Zhang Wei resolutely because Zhang Wei missed the wedding, and Zhang Wei missed true love. Otherwise, if it was the original version, Ted would probably say that if I were Zhang Wei, I would bless her and her ex-boyfriend. After asking Ted back, and comforting Lily who was emotional because of the story and asked Adam to teach Barney a lesson, Adam continued to play this game with Barney. A month passed quickly for Adam, but for Barney, who was severely hit and in pain, it was the end of the long winter. I lost. Barney announced the result in a state of despair and relief. I was wrong. I give up. Barney said it 100 times in front of everyone in the bar. I will give you the crown as soon as possible. After that, Barney walked out of the Macallan bar quickly. Barney, Lily and the other two were a little reluctant. Should we go to comfort him? It's better not to. What he needs now is to lick his wounds alone, Matthew said. Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing. You're still laughing. Ted was angry. You're too much. Why can't I laugh? Adam pouted and said, this is Barney Stinson. You don't really think he was completely defeated and then hid away alone to lick his wounds silently, right? No way, isn't it? Ted said angrily. Haha. Adam sneered. You are still too naive, and you don't understand him at all. The reason why he left so quickly was of course partly because of embarrassment, but the main reason was that he was in a hurry to lick his wounds. But he couldn't lick his wounds by himself. You mean? Lily and the other two suddenly realized. Dancer club. Barney was enjoying a thigh dance with a smile on his face. Oh, so fast? No. Amid the dancers' surprised questioning, Barney's painful cry broke through the sky and penetrated the universe, as if even the fourth wall was broken. P.S. Thanks to the reward from Yi Huang Hun, who has no nickname. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284. After Duncan's army taught Barney a lesson, it was already the eve of graduation. Chandler, let's go. Adam pushed open the door of apartment 520 and greeted Chandler. Okay. Chandler jumped up. Where are you going? Ross asked curiously. Adam will graduate from medical school tomorrow. Adam's family will come to attend his graduation ceremony. We have to pick them up now, Monica explained. Doesn't Adam have a car? Ross asked in surprise. Can a car seat so many people? Joey, who has 7 sisters, understood. Adam, how many brothers and sisters do you have? Ross said with a smile. I don't know either. Adam said with a dark face. Let's talk about it when we get back. Chandler, let's go. After that, without waiting for Ross to ask, he took Chandler out. The reason for this attitude is that when he called last night, a little bird told him that his mother seemed to be giving birth to a brother or sister for her again. New York Airport. Adam. As soon as the flight from Texas to New York arrived, a petite figure rushed straight to Adam. Charlie. Adam's dark face finally brightened up when he saw this. He opened his arms with a smile and welcomed the attack of his 4th sister, Charlie. Charlie, who was already 11 years old, laughed and threw herself into Adam's arms. Her little mouth kissed Adam's cheek heavily. Chandler and Matthew were beside him, watching with envy. Chandler wanted such a lovely daughter, and Matthew wanted such a lovely sister. The Erickson family were all big men. The game they played was a self-created ice basketball, a combination of ice hockey and basketball. There were no rules in the game. It was just a few giants yelling and fighting each other. It was violent and bloody. Where had they seen such a lovely sister? That's right, Matthew came too because he also had a car. Adam booked the tickets for his parents. Of course, they knew that Adam and Chandler's 2 cars alone could not bring back so many people. Adam. At this time, his mother and the others also came over. Mom. Adam's face darkened again. Hee. Teddy and Gabby laughed when they saw this scene. Mom was a little embarrassed, so Dad simply stood at the back, smiling and watching. Chandler, Matthew, let me introduce you. Adam changed the subject in a timely manner and introduced the 2 parties. This is my mother Amy, Mom, and these are my good friends Chandler and Matthew. Hi, Mrs. Duncan. Hi. Hello. Mom greeted the 2 enthusiastically. That's my dad Bob. Adam introduced them one by one. This is my second sister Teddy, third brother Gabby, fourth sister Charlie, and fifth brother Toby. Hi. Chandler and Matthew followed suit and greeted them one by one. Teddy, Gabby, you introduce these 2 yourselves. Adam looked at the outsiders following Teddy and Gabby. This is my boyfriend Spencer, the second child Teddy said with a smile, holding his high school boyfriend. This is my girlfriend Danielle, the third child Gabby said proudly. Adam looked at Daniel and frowned slightly. His appearance and figure were not bad, but his temperament made him a little unhappy. His eyes were too charming, commonly known as flirting, but he didn't say anything. The third child, Gabby, was already in his 20s, and he hadn't grown ugly. His cleverness was just like when he was a child. As long as he didn't go astray, he didn't have to worry too much. Okay, let's go to the hotel to settle down first. Adam arranged. Teddy, you and Spencer, take Chandler's car. Gabby, you and Danielle, take Matthew's car. Dad, Mom, you take Charlie and Toby, take my car. Danielle and I are going to take a Porsche. The third child, Gabby, shouted immediately when he saw Chandler's car. If you don't want to take it, you can take a taxi or take the bus. Adam would not tolerate his bad habits. Listen to your eldest brother. Mom yelled at the third child, Gabby. Okay. Gabby, the third child, immediately raised his hands in surrender, muttering, my pregnant mother is terrible. 3 cars, one in front and one behind, formed a convoy and drove towards the Four Seasons Hotel. The United States is different from the East. Family members or relatives who come here usually don't stay at home, unless they specifically request it, or there are very few people and 1 or 2 can stay. Otherwise they all stay in a hotel. Just like Nora never stays at Chandler's place every time she comes to New York, but only stays in a hotel. This way, personal living habits are not disturbed to the greatest extent. After all, everyone has different living habits, and it is indeed a bit inconvenient to squeeze together suddenly. And staying in a hotel is definitely more convenient and comfortable. In Adam's previous life, in the East, in big cities, this habit gradually emerged. This is also a trend after the improvement of living standards. What could be compromised before, no longer needs to be compromised now. We have money. In the car, Adam concentrated on driving. Dad Bob sat in the passenger seat. Mom Amy sat in the back seat with the 4th child Charlie and the 5th child Toby. Adam. Dad glanced at Adam's dark face, a little embarrassed. Adam snorted. We didn't want it either. It was an accident. Dad said embarrassedly. This is not the first time, Adam said angrily. The first time was an accident. The second time is also an accident. Mom is almost 50 years old. Do you know how much damage this will cause to her body? How high the risk is? I know, Mom directly replied. This is indeed an accident. You can't blame your father. No matter how big the risk is, I will give birth to the baby. You have 1 more brother or sister. It means 1 more family. I am not afraid of risks. Isn't a basketball team enough? Adam complained. A volleyball team is also needed, or just form a football team. That way there will be more family members, and the risk is not that you are not afraid of it. What if something happens? What will happen to Charlie, Toby and the sixth child whose name you don't know? Mom couldn't help but hug Toby, the fifth child who was only 6 years old, and she couldn't say any more words to refute. In a large family, the mother is often the central hub, connecting everyone in the family. With a cheerful and energetic mother, the family is affectionate, cheerful and happy. But once something happens to the mother, it is very likely that this big family will break up. Whether in the past life or this life, Adam feels this most deeply, and sincerely hopes that his mother can live a long life with unlimited vitality. Therefore, he is particularly angry about his parents' fearlessness. Of course, Adam also knows that this is because his parents are too loving. Otherwise, they are almost 50 years old. How could they accidentally have a baby? Although the probability of protection by safety measures is not 100%, the probability of causing such an accident is too small and almost impossible without an extremely high frequency, even far beyond the indescribable frequency of young people. And with such a high frequency, how could it be possible without extreme love? Chapter 285 Dr. Duncan After the graduation ceremony tomorrow, I will accompany you to the medical center for a comprehensive checkup the day after tomorrow. Seeing his mother in a low mood, Adam could only suppress his worries and said helplessly, "By the way, the whole family should have a comprehensive physical examination." Yeah. Mom and Dad nodded quickly. Yeah. The fourth child Charlie followed suit mischievously, and her little look was so cute. Yeah. The fifth child Toby didn't understand why, and seeing his sister like this, he also nodded and hummed. Hee. Adam saw this scene in the rear-view mirror and couldn't help laughing. Hee. The fourth child Charlie giggled. Haha. The fifth child Toby, who has been disliked by his sister since birth, is a complete follower. Mom, what does Gabby's girlfriend do? Adam asked casually. I don't know. It seems to be a classmate. Mom hesitated. Classmate. Adam frowned. The third child Gabby is not a bookworm, and likes to play games the most. Although he is smart, his grades are a mess. But with Adam as his big brother, it is still easy for him to go to a good university. When his parents asked Adam for his opinion, Adam thought about it and let him choose the art major and develop in the direction of game production in the future. First of all, art majors are the most easy, very easy to get in, and very easy to graduate, because there are 1,000 Hamlets in the eyes of 1,000 people. Studying this is not like science, which requires brains to know whether you can do it or not. It is the kind of thing that says if you can do it, you can do it. Secondly, the major is suitable. The third child, Gabby, is particularly interested in games. The game industry has always been a hot industry with great money. Therefore, in the end, Adam found someone to find a connection and help the third child, Gabby, enter the Arts Center College in Pasadena, California. California is one of the cultural centers of the United States. Along with New York, the most famous Hollywood and Silicon Valley are here. The third child, Gabby, likes this choice very much. It can be seen from the fact that he didn't even want to come back for Christmas when he entered college. But it only happened once, and then he was suppressed by Adam. Since you don't even want to participate in family reunions, you definitely don't need the money from your family. It is said that Americans are independent, so you should be independent. Then, the third child, Gabby, was honest. According to him, nothing is more important than family. I know. Charlie smiled slyly. Adam, do you want to know? Then are you willing to tell me for free? Adam teased. I can tell you. Charlie laughed. But not for free, right? Adam smiled knowingly. Hee. Charlie smiled without saying anything, and directly agreed. I prepared a gift, but it seems that someone doesn't want it. Adam continued to tease her. The third brother's girlfriend is an actress. Charlie immediately said, it seems that she has made a movie. Actor, has made a movie. Adam's heart skipped a beat, and he suddenly had an ominous premonition. Although the third brother Gabby is an art student and lives next to Hollywood, it is not uncommon for him to pick up beautiful girls who come to Hollywood to pursue their dreams. But he is still a poor student, just a little handsome, and not ordinary. What capital do he have to pick up an actress, or an actress who has made a movie? You know, the entertainment industry is the most realistic. Girls who come here to pursue their dreams all dream of becoming famous overnight, rich and powerful. How can an actress who has already made movies fall in love with a poor student? Unless it is true love, there must be something wrong, and the probability of true love is really very small. Charlie, how do you know she is an actress who has made movies? I overheard it by accident. Charlie laughed. Adam understood. Charlie, a clever little girl, is at the age of being lively and active. It is normal for her to eavesdrop. The 3 words accidentally represent that the news is very accurate. Charlie, are you happy at school? Adam already had an idea in his mind and was ready to ask someone to investigate Danielle, but he changed the subject calmly. Happy. Charlie's eyes immediately turned. She is a naughty ghost. We are often called by the teacher. Upon hearing this, my mother got angry and started to complain about Charlie. 4 Seasons Hotel. Adam booked a presidential suite for his parents. Your eldest brother is really rich. Danielle looked around the exquisite bedroom and sighed. It's a pity that it's not my money. Gabby, the 3rd child, who was lying on the bed, said lazily, Adam is too stingy. He is stingy? Danielle glanced at him. Your car is not cheap. That was my college gift. Gabby, the 3rd child, said unhappily, you didn't see that the car he bought for Teddy is much more expensive than mine, and the gifts he buys for Charlie every year are completely different from those for me and Toby. He totally discriminates against me and Toby. Haha. Danielle couldn't help laughing. Girls, of course, need to be pampered. You said exactly the same thing as him. Gabby, the 3rd child, complained, he always treats me like this. In the evening, everyone had a dinner together, and then Adam took them out for a walk and went back to rest. The next day, Columbia University Medical School, the graduation ceremony of the 1995 and 1998 Columbia University Medical School was being held. As expected, Adam became the representative of this year's medical graduates. He went on stage to give a speech, and then began to issue graduation certificates. Adam Duncan, as the dean read out the names, Adam, wearing a bachelor's gown and a bachelor's hat, walked back to the stage, came to the dean, took the graduation certificate from him, shook hands with him, and then walked off. Stephen Gus Murphy, Alice Neil Kidman, Bianca Sarah Sampson, Aliad Katie Reed, William Tom Hever. The dean read out the names one by one. In such an occasion, it was natural to include the middle name to make it look more solemn. Adam's classmates went up to the stage one by one, and some were excited or calm to receive the graduation certificates and shook hands with the dean. When Iliad went up, he didn't even put on his bachelor's hat properly, and finally he simply didn't wear it and just took it in his hand. Wow, this is a doctor's certificate. As soon as Adam went down, the diploma in his hand was snatched away by his second sister Teddy. When she opened it, she was dumbfounded. She didn't recognize it. This is Latin. Adam took it back unhappily and pointed at the words on it and said, look at this line. Dr. Adam Duncan. We finally have a doctor in our family. Mom was very excited when she saw the certificate, not only because she is a mother, but also because she is a nurse. She knows the difference in status between nurses and doctors best. There is also a famous writer, and the youngest billionaire. Gabby, the 3rd child, reminded, of course I know. Mom rolled her eyes at him unhappily, but it's a pity that Adam has all 3 honors. Teddy, the 2nd child. Gabby, the 3rd child. P.S. Thanks to the Zion Danshall people for the reward. Chapter 286. Columbia University Medical School was despised. Look here, eggplant. After receiving the graduation certificate, the Duncan family began to take photos. Others were similar. 4 years of hard work, isn't it for this moment today? Many girls shed tears, because these 4 years were really difficult. Many parents also cried with joy. It is definitely a very honorable thing for a family to train a doctor, and the cost is also very touching. It is impossible not to cry. What? All medical students independently bear student loans and never rely on their parents? Haha. That's an illusion. It is true that many people bear student loans independently, but there are also many who rely on family support. Those who bear student loans independently are not all independent people, but more of them have no money to support them. Now everything is worth it. Therefore, almost everyone who took the photo was wearing a bachelor's gown. No matter what level of graduates wear it, It is collectively called a bachelor's gown. Even high school graduates wear a bachelor's gown, holding the certificate representing a doctor of medicine in front of them. Absolutely the center position. The family members who came were not only parents, brothers and sisters, but also boyfriends and girlfriends, fiancés, wives and husbands, and even children. These people were more excited in comparison, because it was really difficult to fall in love with a medical student or to start a family. Now there was finally light at the end of the tunnel. Although the internship salary for the upcoming residency training could not be compared with that of a real doctor, they would no longer invest a large amount of money in it. The difference between the positive and the negative was too big. Adam, go get the assignment letter. Iliad came over and greeted. Okay, Adam said to his family, and entered the teaching building with Iliad. Graduates in groups of 3 or 2 had already walked in front. In front of the nurse's desk that imitated the hospital layout, everyone went over to get a letter when they heard their names. Inside was the internship hospital they were assigned. Doctors' internships are naturally a two-way application, but the top medical schools have large hospitals as designated teaching hospitals. Therefore, at this time, there is more of an allocation system. Medical schools will assign you to hospitals of various levels for residency training based on your performance, usually in the local area. For example, most Harvard Medical School students are assigned to Boston. Columbia University Medical School is naturally assigned to New York. Of course, you can choose not to go and choose to apply for a hospital for residency training by yourself, but without the help of a medical school, you need more connections. Otherwise, the application will be much more difficult, and the hospital you can apply for will be much worse than the one assigned by the medical school. This is one of the important reasons why some people worship senior professors when studying in medical school. He can not only teach you more skills, but also arrange your future. Just ask if you worship him or not. Where are you? Mount Sinai Hospital. What about you? Me too. Everyone got the envelope, opened it, and began to talk about it. Adam and his friends were much calmer, because they were all pre-selected, and where to go had been decided long ago. When they opened it, it turned out to be the Department of Surgery of the medical center. Adam glanced at a few influential people and saw that their expressions did not change much. He knew that it must be the same as the pre-selected one, and he couldn't help but smile. Let's go. Adam waved to Iliad and Bianca with the envelope and walked out. The whole family was still waiting for him. On this day, Adam led the Duncan team to visit Columbia University, and then New York. The next day, medical center. Adam took the family for a comprehensive physical examination, mainly his mother's physical examination. His mother has always been in good health. She gave birth to an entire Duncan basketball team, all by natural delivery. But 6 years ago, when she gave birth to the 5th child, Toby, Adam clearly noticed that his mother's health had deteriorated. Older mothers are very dangerous. When she gave birth to the 3rd child, Gabby, and the 4th child, Charlie, she was able to walk and jump soon after giving birth, and there was no problem at all going to work. When she gave birth to the 5th child, Toby, in her 40s, she rested for a long time before recovering. This time, she was pregnant with the 6th child, and she was almost 50 years old. It was scary to think about it. Although modern medicine is becoming more and more advanced, every childbirth is still a matter of life and death. Leonard, how is it? In order to get the most accurate information, Adam found Rachel's father Leonard and asked him to give the most professional and appropriate diagnosis. There was no other way. The obstetrician and gynecologist who performed the physical examination might be more professional, but they might not give the most appropriate diagnosis, either conservative or exaggerated. This was not what Adam wanted. As a doctor, he understood the practice of his colleagues, but now he wanted to know the real physical condition of his mother. As a son, your mother's physical condition is very good. There is no problem. Leonard smiled and said, "Don't worry. I asked the director of obstetrics and gynecology privately. There is really no problem. As long as you pay attention, it will go smoothly. But after all, you are old. Don't get pregnant in the future. It will hurt your vitality. Of course, if you get pregnant again, it may be a medical miracle. I know. Thank you." Adam breathed a sigh of relief and said gratefully, "In a week, You will come here for internship. Are you ready? Leonard patted Adam's shoulder and smiled. Always be prepared. Adam smiled. Haha. Leonard said with satisfaction, I have already said hello, and you will be assigned to Dr. Lang. She is a senior resident under me. She has a very good personality and you will like her. I have no doubt. Adam smiled. This is the beauty of having connections. A green light all the way. This Dr. Lang is Leonard's resident and will definitely take special care of Adam. With the county magistrate, attending physician Leonard Green, and the current supervisor, resident physician Sharon, both taking good care of Adam. It is easy to imagine how quickly Adam could get started with surgery. The benefits of building relationships over the years were once again fully demonstrated. The two chatted briefly again, and Adam went to see his parents with the medical examination report. He first told them the doctor's warning, and then told them the good news. Dad, Mom, how about you move here? Adam thought about it and suggested, New York has better medical resources. Haha, no need. Mom interrupted with a smile. Your dad and I have friends in Galveston. When we arrived in New York, we were completely in the dark and didn't even have a friend. How uncomfortable it was. We are doing very well in our hometown. You also said that my body is completely fine. It's not completely fine. The risks of giving birth to older mothers still exist. Adam couldn't help but remind her, yeah, I know my body. Although you are a doctor, you are still an intern. Your mother is also a senior nurse. Bambi like you will ask us for help when you go to the hospital, Mom said proudly. Adam. Chapter 287. Although the words of the girl next door's mother did not apply to Adam, Adam decided to endure it. In the love-hate relationship between nurses and doctors, young interns, that is the unbearable experience of the Jade Emperor was beaten by a monkey in the mouth of the nurses. You are powerful, but you have been an intern and you still asked us to help you with injections. You are awesome, but you have been an intern and you still asked us to teach you what to do. You are majestic, but you have been an intern and you have been frank with us. Therefore, senior nurses have a full sense of superiority over interns, even to the attending doctors and even the department heads. Sometimes they are not afraid. There is a nurses' union, and they can organize strikes. As a mother of a senior nurse, saying this to her son who is an intern, it is really a double sense of superiority and happiness. Although Adam is not the Bambi in the mouth of his mother, but you are pregnant again, so you are happy. After solving the big problem of his mother's health, Adam relaxed a lot. Taking advantage of the last week before the busy schedule, he took his family to have a good time for a few days. Puff. What? Adam sprayed wine when he heard the results of the assistant's investigation. That's right, Adam has an assistant. As his wealth grows, the various equity investments become more and more complicated, but he himself does not have the mind and time to take care of these tedious tasks, so he naturally needs to hire someone to manage them. In addition, in order to help Max, he also opened a small book production company, which also needs someone to take care of it. So as early as a few years ago, Adam opened a small investment company, included all his investments in it, and hired a female assistant with good professional qualities to take charge of the specific work. Of course, in order to prevent the property from being embezzled, Adam gave her very low authority, and she was only responsible for general administrative work, filing taxes, paying attention to the equity and stock price changes of the investment company, booking air tickets, and helping to run errands. The most important investment and finance are firmly controlled by Adam, held for the long term, and handled intensively at intervals, so there is no big problem. The female assistant is called Ada Tut. She looks average, but she is skilled in business and has no ambition. She is very satisfied with the high salary Adam gives her. The key is not 007 or 996, but 955, so don't live too chic. Boss, you heard it right. The female assistant Ada was sprayed in the face. She looked at her boss with some complaints, and her eyes changed from weird to gloating. Danielle, whom you asked me to investigate, has indeed made a movie, The Girl Next Door series. This is a series of videotapes. Do you want to watch it? Of course. Adam took the videotape and opened it. He found that the girl next door in it was really the girlfriend of the third child, Gabby. The moment she changed, He turned off the videotape and his face looked a little bad. He is not Barney. He has no special affection for the artistic actress in Fernando Valley. At this moment, he was full of nausea. How can such a happy Duncan family integrate such a strange thing? Boss, what should we do now? Ada gossiped. What should we do? Cold, Adam said unhappily. Now go and book tomorrow's plane tickets for my parents. Don't book Gabby's. I will have a good talk with him. This kind of thing naturally cannot be known to his mother. Even if he is very annoyed now, he has to endure it until his mother and others leave. Okay, boss. Ada responded and left Adam's apartment. The next day, Mom and Dad went back to Texas. Danielle went back to California. Gabby, the third child, was left behind by Adam. Adam, what do you want to talk to me about? Gabby, the third child, rubbed her hands and looked at Adam expectantly. How did you and Danielle meet? Adam asked. We just met on campus and fell in love at first sight. She has a certain temperament. Gabby, the third child, was intoxicated, but she had no culture, so she couldn't say a word at this moment. The temperament of a girl next door? Adam looked at her strangely. Yes. Gabby, the third child, clapped her hands and said, it's the girl next door who is charming. This is exactly what I dream of. Unlike our neighbor, who is an annoying Andy who troubles me every day. That's because you trouble others every day, okay? Adam complained. So, you are still serious with her? Of course I am serious. Gabby, the third child, shouted. I am serious about every relationship. Adam's mouth twitched, but he was relieved in his heart. Because of this seriousness, he felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity. The truth that Danielle was an artistic actress from Fernando Valley should not be a big blow to the serious third child. Gabby, do you know what she does? I know, she makes movies. The third child Gabby said as a matter of course. Speaking of which, she is my predecessor. Maybe we can work together to make movies in the future. The art design he studied can be used in game production, and naturally it can also be used in filming movies. It is actually normal to be behind the scenes. Work together to make a movie. Adam didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Watch the movie she made first, then tell me this. As he said, he turned on the videotape and let the third child Gabby watch it himself. He went back to the bedroom and called home to see if his parents had arrived home safely. Have a good trip. Adam chatted with his parents for a while. After hanging up the phone, he always felt strange in his heart. After thinking about it, he realized that after so long, the third child Gabby in the living room didn't react at all. This is not normal, so he hurried out. Then the corners of his mouth twitched. However, the third brother Gabby, who should have cried and screamed no, sat there, staring at the video recorder, watching with relish. Did I put the wrong videotape? Adam was shocked and hurried over to take a look. He found that it was indeed the series of The Girl Next Door. He couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and then looked at the third brother Gabby strangely. Gabby, are you okay? What's wrong with me? The third brother Gabby pointed at the indescribable image and smiled. Look, this is my girlfriend. Isn't her acting great? God, I'm actually dating an artist from Fernando Valley. So great. Adam was speechless. He carefully observed the expression in the eyes of the third brother Gabby and found that his happiness was not fake, and this was not the first time he had seen such an expression. Holy shit. My third brother is not Barney number 2, right? Adam deliberately kept the third brother Gabby for another day and secretly observed him for a long time. He had to let the female assistant Ada book a flight back to California for the third brother Gabby with joy and worry. The good news is that the third child, Gabby, really doesn't care. His mental quality is beyond Adam's reach. The bad news is that this is clearly another Barney Stinson. He actually thinks that dating an artist from Fernando Valley is a great thing. The Duncan family are all honest and kind people. How could they raise a copy of Barney? Adam couldn't help but regret letting the third child, Gabby, go to California to study. This is too much freedom. Yes, that must be the case. Chapter 288, On-the-Job Training. Send off the third child, Gabby. In the last 2 days, Adam went to Boston. Juno, Karen, and Heather, who flew from Texas, had been waiting here for a long time. The 4 of them spent 2 wonderful days. After talking with Juno, Adam finally forgot the bad news that the third child, Gabby, might be Barney number 2. Of course, Adam firmly disagreed with Juno's statement that the third child, Gabby, might be influenced by him. For the first time, he doubted Juno's judgment. Juno was a human, not a god after all. Heather was short of time and there were few opportunities to get together, so Adam would naturally not be so ignorant to dwell on this issue. 2 days passed in a blink of an eye. On the weekend night, Adam and Heather, who was reluctant to leave, said goodbye at the airport. He flew back to New York. Heather flew back to Texas. Juno continued to stay in Boston. As an outstanding graduate of Harvard Medical School, even with so many cheaters and backdoors, her grades were among the best. Therefore, she was assigned to the best Massachusetts General Hospital after graduation. Karen studied nursing and had many years of experience as an assistant in hunting and dissection with Adam and Juno, so it was very easy. Monday morning, Adam got up early, packed up, and came to the medical center early. Today is the registration day. Someone has been waiting here for a long time. Adam, a girl of South American descent, saw Adam and came over to say hello. Remember me? I am Christina Yang. Adam smiled. Juno's classmate. You and Meredith really gave up those good hospitals in Boston and ran to New York to compete with us for opportunities? Competition is everywhere. It's the same everywhere. Christina half raised her single eyelids and smiled indifferently. Where is Meredith? You are not with her? Adam asked curiously. No. Christina shook her head and said, she lives in her mother's house, and I rented a house alone. I am not used to living with others. She wanted to take me to the bar last night, but I refused because I thought I would report today. She is probably still sleeping now. You won't wake her up? Adam smiled. She will wake up. Christina smiled. Plastic sisterhood. Adam understood. Christina's words of competition everywhere were no joke. She really competed everywhere. Although Meredith was her good sister, she was also her biggest rival. If Meredith didn't perform well, many opportunities for Meredith would fall on her. In that case, why did she wake Meredith up? Adam even thought darkly that the reason why Christina didn't live with Meredith was probably because she didn't want to be too close to her, so as to avoid many inconveniences. Thank you for the flight. Christina changed the subject and thanked her. You're welcome. Adam glanced at her. The two chatted about some gossip casually, and time passed quickly. Other interns arrived one after another. Are you all here? A bald man in a suit took a list and looked through everyone. Meredith hasn't come yet, Christina whispered to Adam. Don't worry. The director of surgery is a good friend of her mother. Adam smiled meaningfully. That's right, Christina nodded. For ordinary interns, they are all very cautious, fearing that they will violate the hospital's rules and regulations and be expelled from the residency training program. But for people like Meredith who have a strong background, rules are meant to be broken. This is also the subconscious reason why she dared to go to the bar to drink and have fun as usual last night, even though she knew she had to report today. Follow me. The bald man in a suit did not call everyone by name, but directly led everyone to an office, asked everyone to sit down, and introduced himself. I am Jason Dawn, the legal counsel of the hospital. I will be responsible for giving you induction training today to let you know what you can and cannot do. Now who can tell me what is the most important thing as a doctor? Caring about patients? A young intern raised his hand and smiled. Haha. Bald legal advisor Jason said with a wry smile. See, this is your biggest confusion. Caring about patients? No. The most important thing you have to remember is that hospitals don't want to be sued. Being sued is not a good thing. Then there was a long section of cases where doctors were sued in various ways. Many of them were cases where doctors were sued with good intentions. Everyone's scalps were numb after listening to it, and they had a deep impression of prosecution. Very good. Bald legal advisor Jason looked around and saw that everyone listened to it. He nodded with satisfaction. Now let's talk about what to do if a medical accident still occurs after taking all precautions. Does anyone have something to say? Refuse to admit it? Christina raised her hand. Yes. Bald legal advisor Jason's eyes lit up and pointed at Christina. Just refuse to admit it. Of course, that is for the patient. But if you can be sure that the patient is dead, then you can say whatever you want. He smiled at this point, but no one agreed with him. Bald legal advisor Jason curled his lips and continued to instill and deepen the concept in this regard. Okay, my mission is over. You can follow your department heads. I believe they have something to say. 10 minutes later, when two white coats, one white and one black, appeared at the door, Jason, the bald legal advisor, ended the topic. Surgeons, follow me. The old African-American man with very little, short, and gray hair said this and turned away. Christina was the first to jog after him. Let's go. Adam nodded to Iliad from the internal medicine department, called Bianca beside him, and followed him. Everyone followed the chief of surgery to a room. When the chief of surgery turned on the lights, they found that the layout inside was like an operating room. This was the practice room for surgical interns. Today you came here with hope and wanted to participate in this competition. The chief of surgery looked at everyone and began his lecture. At this time, a girl came in from outside. The chief of surgery glanced at her, but did not scold her for being late. He pretended not to see her and continued. In the past, you were medical students learning to be doctors in medical school, and today you are doctors. The 7 years of residency training are the best and worst 7 years of your life. The chief of surgery stood there with his arms folded and said calmly, you will be pushed to the brink of collapse. Look around and say hello to your competitors. 8 of you will be transferred to easier departments, 5 will collapse under pressure, and 2 will be persuaded to quit. This is your starting line. Your arena. Where you will go depends entirely on you. Adam looked around at everyone. There were a total of 20 surgical interns this year. According to the chief of surgery, only 5 would succeed in the end. Chapter 289 48-Hour Medical Center. Internship Locker Room. Chief of Surgery Richard Weber left after he finished speaking. Everyone came to the locker room, changed into blue shirts and white coats, hung stethoscopes around their necks, and officially entered the state of interns. The hospital is a place with strict hierarchy, and even the clothes are particular. Interns and residents wear blue shirts, while attending doctors wear dark blue shirts. The first shift is 48 hours. It's terrible. Bianca complained to Adam in a low voice. Internship is much easier. This is surgery. Adam adjusted his clothes and smiled. There are only 6 women among 20 surgical interns, which is really a bit unfriendly. Meredith looked around and complained. The male-female ratio of your Harvard Medical School has reached 1-to-1? Adam asked curiously. Meredith paused. In most industries, men are still the absolute mainstream, and the medical field is no exception. The ratio of male medical students is much higher than that of female medical students. The ratio of 14-to-6 is already quite friendly. After all, this is general surgery, not gynecology. She complained like that just because she was throwing a punch subconsciously. Who knew Adam would be so disrespectful? What's that? One of the 6 women is a model. Christina sneered and looked at Alice over there. Seriously, does this make us respect her? Alice is not. Adam smiled and said, if there is a model, it must be her. Several people followed Adam's gaze and saw a tall, curvy blonde beauty who was fixing her hair. No way? Christina asked in surprise. Aren't models all thin and without any burden? It depends on what kind of model they are. Adam explained, those niche supermodels who have gone astray are naturally the kind you mentioned, but for ordinary models, it is better to be blonde and fierce because it is more in line with the public's aesthetics. You know so much. Meredith smiled. A little bit. A little bit. Adam smiled reservedly. He's a billionaire, so of course he knows the most about this. Christina's eyes swept over Alice, the tall, blonde, fierce model, Bianca, Meredith, and finally glanced at herself in the mirror, her tone a little strange. There are really some weirdos in our class. Not only are there billionaires who become doctors, but there are also beautiful women who become doctors. If you don't know, you might think we are acting in the medical drama Days of Our Lives. You watched Days of Our Lives too? Adam looked strange. So what do you think of Dr. Derek Lamour? Meredith paused when she heard Drake's name. He's pretty handsome, but a little silly, just in a TV show. He can't be a doctor in real life, Christina commented. Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing. Drake Lamour is played by Adam's good friend Joey Tribbiani, Bianca explained. Really? Christina was a little surprised. After all, TV actors are far from ordinary people. But when she thought of Adam's identity as a writer and billionaire, she felt that it was natural for them to know each other. "Can I ask you a question about Joey?" "Ask as you like." Adam smiled. He often stops talking halfway and tilts his head to think. Did he forget his lines? Christina asked the question she had been wondering about. "It's called the fart-smelling performance method," Adam said happily. "It's specially used to recall when you forget your lines." "It's true." Christina shrugged and said, "How did your friend get selected?" "He is an important supporting role after all. How come he can't even memorize his lines?" Haha. Adam didn't answer but asked, "Do you think he invented the fart-smelling performance method? Didn't he learn it from his predecessors?" "How did Joey get selected?" "Of course, he got it through the back door, but there's no need to tell others about this." "Okay, Martin, Robinson, Bond, Hawkins." The hospital staff began to group the interns. The 4 interns walked over quickly and followed the staff's instructions to find the resident doctor who was leading them. "Who are you following?" "Meredith and I are Bailey," Christina asked. "Are you following Natchery too?" "Me too." Before Adam and Bianca could speak, a chubby boy interrupted and said, "At least we will suffer together." "I'm George O'Malley." Seeing that Meredith and Christina ignored him, he walked over and said to the smiling Meredith, "We met at the bar last night. You were wearing a black skirt with a slit on the hem and Roman sandals. Now you think I'm gay." "No, I'm not gay." "Are you sure?" Adam joked. "Normal men don't focus on this. There's nothing wrong with a man looking at a woman, looking at her whole body, and remembering what she's wearing. But if he can even accurately tell the characteristics of the skirt she's wearing and the type of shoes she's wearing, even if he's not gay, he's a bit sissy." Chubby George, O'Malley, Yang, Gray, Stevenson. The staff shouted. The fat guy quickly chased after Gray, and the fierce blonde model followed him quickly. "He's really popular with women." Adam looked at the backs of the 4 of them leaving and complained to Bianca, "He's just surrounded by flowers." There were 4 interns in a group, and only the fat guy Joey was a man. The other 3 women, 2 of them were beauties. If it was Joey, Barney and the others, they would definitely be very happy. "You think too much." Bianca smiled. "Too many women is not good. Maybe he will become gay even if he was not gay originally." "That's true." Adam was stunned, nodded and smiled. "When everyone around you treats you as a sister, it's easy for someone who is not a real man to be assimilated into a sister." "I think O'Malley is soft and very dangerous." "What if it was a real man like you?" Bianca rolled her eyes at him. Haha. Adam smiled but said nothing. If it was him, as long as he wanted, they would still become sisters. Duncan, Samson, Turk, Fowler. The staff began to sign up again. "Let's go." Adam called Bianca to walk to the door. "Hi, I'm Chris Turk." A bald African-American youth greeted enthusiastically. "I'm with Dr. Caring, just like you." "Adam Duncan." "Bianca Samson." The 2 shook hands with him. Adam asked curiously, "Dr. Caring? Dr. Sidney Sharon's nickname?" "Yes." Bald Chris smiled and said, "Unlike Natura, Dr. Sidney Sharon, who we follow, has a very good personality and likes to care for patients and colleagues with love, so she is nicknamed Dr. Caring. We are so lucky." Chapter 290, Killing the Chicken to Frighten the Monkey. Medical Center. "Ha, isn't this my intern?" A female doctor in her 30s with an average appearance looked at the 4 people with a smile on her face. "Let me guess, you are Adam, you are Bianca, you are Chris, and you are Stu, right?" "Yes, yes." Adam and the other 2 nodded with a smile, while the last fat white man smiled with a very funny expression, even a little bit vulgar. "I am Stu Fowler. I am very happy to learn from you, Dr. Sharon. Your smile is simply the brightest sunshine, warming people's hearts. Can I call you Zuni?" "Of course." Dr. Zuni Sharon smiled even sweeter. "We are all colleagues. I just came here 3 years earlier than you, and we will all be friends in the future, get along well, and make progress together." "Great, Zuni." The fat white man Stu cheered from the bottom of his heart. Adam and the other 2 looked at each other in bewilderment. Where did this fat white man come from? He is really stealing the show. "Dr. Sharon, please arrange for us," Adam reminded. "Okay." Zuni glanced at Adam and smiled. "I've heard that you like studying the most, Adam. Here are the rules of the trauma department, the doctor's phone list and the pager. The nurse will call you at any time. You need to be there at any time. It's best to run. After all, time is sometimes the difference between life and death for patients. The earlier you arrive, the more hope the patient has. Beep, beep, just come, follow me. Zuni's pager on her waist rang. She took a look and started running immediately. Adam and the other four quickly followed. On the roof of the building, a medical helicopter slowly flew over. What's the patient's condition? After landing, Zuni immediately stepped forward to ask. Bran Tucker, 38 years old, cardiac arrest, CPR has been performed, and now he is unconscious. The paramedic quickly reported the situation. I know him. He has an appointment with Dr. Green for a coronary bypass surgery this Friday. Zuni asked everyone to push the trolley downstairs while observing the patient's condition. Adam, go inform Dr. Green. Okay. Adam agreed and ran downstairs quickly. Holy shit. Bald Chris and Fat White Stu were both shocked by Adam's speed. Adam came to the nurse's station and asked the nurse to call Leonard. Leonard came quickly. Bran Tucker? Leonard was very concerned when he heard it, and hurried to the ward with Adam, because this patient belonged to his group of patients. The medical system in the United States is very complicated and interesting. The relationship between hospitals and doctors is similar to that between department stores and counters, platforms and online writers. It is a cooperative relationship. Doctors provide technology, and hospitals provide venues, equipment, residents, nurses and other logistics, and both parties make money together. Of course, the doctor here refers to the attending physician who has obtained independent medical qualifications, like Leonard. Interns like Adam and residents like Zuni are all with Leonard, but they are hired by the hospital and assigned to Leonard. After the residency training is completed, the attending physician's independent medical qualification examination is completed, and after obtaining a medical license, there are usually two options. One is to stay in the hospital and become a doctor hired by the hospital. The hospital will hire a small number of full-time doctors to prevent the cooperating doctors from being unable to see patients. After all, it is just a cooperative relationship, and it is not an exclusive cooperation. Once something happens, it is common for the cooperating doctors to choose to go to another hospital. The attending physician who has just obtained a medical license has not had the opportunity to establish his own patient group. It is also a wise move to choose to stay in the hospital for consultation, slowly establish a patient group, and then set up a clinic on his own. The other is that if you are already famous and have your own patient group, you can rent a place outside or inside the hospital and open a clinic directly. Leonard rented a house in the hospital and opened a clinic by himself. Over the years, he has developed his own patient group. He does not work for the hospital, but cooperates with the hospital to share the profits, so his income is very high. In this case, a good enough reputation is needed to maintain and expand the patient group, so we strive to do our best to serve every patient. Adam, you will be the attending physician. You are responsible for him now. After the first aid, everything was stable, and Zuni began to assign tasks. Bianca, you go to the ward. Chris, you go to write the report. Zuni, what about me? Fatty Stu said anxiously. Stu, there are already many people waiting for the rectal examination. You go. Zuni smiled. Fatty Stu's face suddenly turned black. Adam was amused. He knew this arrangement very well, because this patient was going to have a heart bypass surgery on Friday. As the attending physician of the other party, Leonard could legitimately arrange for him to participate in the surgery. First of all, this kind of open-chest heart surgery would definitely make others envious if they told others about it. 6 hours later, in the hospital restaurant, Adam and his 4 friends and Meredith's 4 friends were sitting at a table to eat. The fierce blonde model, named Elizabeth Stevenson, or Liz for short, covered her mouth and nose, with an expression of trying hard to hold back discomfort. This shift is a marathon. Eat something quickly, or you won't be able to hold on. George O'Malley, a fat boy with a sissy personality, advised. No, I can't eat. Fierce Liz shook her head with a distressed expression. What's wrong? Adam asked curiously. Try to see if you can eat after doing 17 rectal examinations. Fierce Liz looked like she was in agony. Adam and the other 2 immediately looked at Stu, a fat white man who was fatter than George. You also do a rectal examination, Stu. A fat white man with a mouth full of oil, raised his head with sparkling eyes. Me too, I did 23. Fierce Liz covered her mouth and ran away. Wow, fat white man. Stu didn't care. Looking at the ferocious curve of Liz's running, he couldn't help but reveal an extremely obscene smile. He. I didn't expect that Liz and I are so destined. Everyone couldn't bear to look at it. Have you heard that every year the attending doctors will select the best interns and let them participate in the operation on their first shift? Christina changed the subject. I wonder who among us will be selected. 1 out of 4. The probability is very high. Adam smiled and said, now it depends on who will be picked first to perform the operation. Your group will definitely choose you. Christina glanced at him. That's not necessarily the case. Adam shook his head and said, each attending doctor has a different style. I heard that your attending doctor, Dr. Preston Burke, likes to kill a chicken to scare the monkey. He will find the weakest one or the one he doesn't like, and then attack the other person madly to deter others. Puff. George O'Malley, the sissy fat boy who was eating, heard this and directly spit out the food in his mouth, his face pale. P.S. Thank you for the reward from Kang's Moment. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291. The first operation at the Glory Medical Center. Indoor restaurant. Is Dr. Burke like this? The sissy little fat George was confused. I heard it. I don't know if it's true. Adam was surprised. What's wrong? I think I offended him, George said in a panic. You are so brave. Adam raised his thumbs. You dared to offend your boss's boss on the first day of internship. George, how did you offend him? Christina asked curiously. Tony, it's the patient I'm taking care of. When I was inserting the needle for his infusion, I didn't insert it immediately. Dr. Burke drove me down and did it himself, George said indignantly. I just said one sentence. I bet you made many mistakes when you first started. Clap. Before he finished speaking, Adam had already applauded. What's wrong? George looked at Adam dissatisfied. You mocked and confronted the attending doctor in front of the patient. You are awesome. Adam raised 2 thumbs and clapped his hands in admiration. George, you shouldn't do this, Meredith said helplessly. Doctors are a profession with clear levels. The authority of the superior doctor cannot be offended, especially in front of patients. And you can't handle it yourself. Adam added, you are even more suicidal by mocking the big boss. The more powerful attending doctors are like Leonard, who open their own clinics and cooperate with hospitals. The same is true for Dr. Burke. He is more famous than Leonard and is a confidant of the chief surgeon. There have been rumors that he will become the next chief surgeon. The profession of doctor pays the most attention to technicality and authority. If an intern says weird things to him in front of the patient, any doctor will be unhappy. Who else should I do? George, you are in trouble. Christina looked at the sissy fat boy with pity. Not really, right? George's face turned pale. I just said that casually. Dr. Burke shouldn't be against me, right? Not really? The ferocious Liz, who had already vomited, said with eyes wide open. Nat just doesn't like me, so she arranged for me to do 17 dung sweeping jobs. She is just our resident doctor. You clearly offended her boss. Think about it carefully. I think George will be the first lucky one among us to go on stage for surgery, Adam said playfully. This Dr. Burke is a famous cardiothoracic surgeon and Leonard's new rival. Leonard has told Adam about the news about him more than once. Of course, the most talked about thing is that Dr. Burke, like the chief surgeon Richard, is also African American and is involved in small group inheritance. In the past, it was the chief surgeon Richard, who was the same age as Leonard, who suppressed Leonard. Now the young Dr. Burke, who is in his 40s, is following closely behind. He is completely discriminating against them, the white people. According to the news Adam heard, Dr. Burke will definitely give George a hard time. Speak of the devil, and the devil will appear. Good afternoon, fellow interns. A tall African-American doctor came over. Under George's panicked gaze, He deliberately walked to George's side, put his hands on his chest and smiled. "News spreads quickly, but I want to share this good news in person. You all know that the honor of performing the first surgery is reserved for the intern with the most potential. I have an operation today and I want to pick someone." Christina, Meredith, and the cruel Liz, hearing this, even though they knew that Dr. Burke was probably here to take revenge on George, they couldn't help but sit up straight and look at Dr. Burke with expectation when Dr. Burke's eyes passed by. "This is the charm of surgery. It's you, George O'Malley." Dr. Burke looked around and patted the sissy fat boy next to him. "Me?" George's body trembled. "Yes." Dr. Burke smiled and said, "You will perform the appendectomy surgery this afternoon. Congratulations, enjoy it." After that, he left happily. "What kind of punishment is this?" Christina said dissatisfiedly. "Yes, appendectomy is so simple," Fierce Liz echoed. "If I had known this, I would have offended Dr. Burke." "Difficulty is relative." Adam pursed his lips and motioned everyone to look at George, but saw the sissy fat boy with sweat on his forehead and his eyes blank. "Appendectomy is of course simple if it goes smoothly according to the standard procedures, but can you guarantee that there will be no accidents during the operation, such as sudden bleeding?" Everyone was startled. When doing surgery, especially for novices, the most feared thing is accidents, because they don't have enough experience. Once they encounter an accident, they don't have time to think carefully. They must react immediately, otherwise a life may be buried in their hands. This extreme sense of urgency will overwhelm novices. The most terrible state is that the brain is empty or the brain is buzzing. This is also why interns and even residents do not have the qualifications to practice medicine independently and must perform surgery under the care of the attending physician. If you perform well enough, the attending physician will let go a little more and let you have more freedom to perform the operation. This is trust and responsibility, because the person in charge of the operation is the attending physician. Therefore, even if it is to punish the sissy little fat George O'Malley and to make an example of him so that other interns can feel that the authority of the attending physician cannot be challenged, Dr. Burke did not dare to use a complicated operation as a case, and only chose the simplest appendectomy, because with such a simple operation, even if something goes wrong, he has enough confidence to save it immediately. If it is a complicated operation, it is really hard to say. It is very likely that he will fail to show off and get slapped in the face, which is too bad. As for why he did not choose a slightly difficult but confident one in case George can really handle it, in fact, it is very simple, because Dr. Burke did an investigation in advance, read the files, and found that the sissy little fat was not good enough and almost didn't get in. His personality is also weak. To deal with such a rookie, the simplest appendectomy is enough. After lunch, everyone began to devote themselves to the busy work of the interns again. According to the self-deprecating saying that has been circulated, we are interns, small people, and the bottom of the surgical food chain. We do experiments, write medical records, and work all night. We can't complain even if we fall down, and we have to take the initiative to buy coffee for the boss and keep a smile. We have it so hard. Adam, you will do the first appendectomy later. Leonard came over and announced, "Come with me to get ready." "What?" Adam was surprised. "It's not just Burke who has appendectomy, we have it here too." Leonard smiled and said, "The honor of an intern's first operation should go to the best intern, not let some people play a trick of killing the chicken to scare the monkey." Chapter 292, Gambling in the Observation Room. Observing the operating room. The transparent glass high platform audience seats were already full of interns. They all heard the news and took time out to watch. "Didn't they say George would do the first operation?" Fierce Liz looked at Adam washing his hands and changing clothes in the operating room downstairs in confusion. Why did it change to Adam? "I heard that Dr. Green and Dr. Burke don't get along," Christina whispered. In order to let Adam do the first operation, Dr. Green changed the operation schedule and caught Dr. Burke off guard. The operating rooms in the hospital are limited, so in order to arrange the operations of each doctor in the most reasonable way, there is a blackboard in the corridor, with time as the x-coordinate and the operating room as the y-coordinate, dividing the spaces one by one. Someone specially arranged the operations of each doctor and wrote them in the spaces. What time point, which operating room, which attending doctor is the main surgeon, and which other doctors are involved. It is clear at a glance. Dr. Burke looked at this operation arrangement board before he was sure that he could arrange the first operation for George O'Malley, but he never thought that Leonard would do such a thing as changing the operation. Then Dr. Burke must be very unhappy. Fierce Liz smacked her lips. Dr. Burke will also hate Adam. So what? Christina pouted. If an attending doctor treated me like this, let alone an attending doctor, even if I offended the chief of surgery, what would it matter? The worst case scenario is that I will follow the attending doctor to change hospitals. George, take a good look. In another hour, it will be your turn, Fierce Liz reminded. Yeah. The sissy little fat George sat in the front row, staring at the operating room downstairs. Meredith, are you okay? Christina saw that Meredith was in a trance without saying a word throughout the whole process, and couldn't help but push her. It's okay. Meredith forced a smile. She is still in a state of confusion. The epileptic girl she took over was assigned to Derek Shept, the attending doctor of neurosurgery, by her chief resident, Dr. Miranda Bailey, who was nicknamed Missouri, because she was inclined towards neurosurgery. Then she found out that this Dr. Derek Shept was the man she had been chasing away from the bar last night, and the way this man looked at her was as if she was naked, and he clearly expressed his desire to continue this relationship. Of course, she refused and expressed her deep dissatisfaction, but deep down, she felt complicated because this man was handsome, humorous, and authoritative, which was really fascinating. $10 bet that he can't do it. $15 bet that he will cry. $20 bet that he will collapse. Some interns started to make bets. I bet that he will succeed, and I'll bet against all of you. No limit on the amount. Bianca stood up, turned around, and looked at the male interns who were making the bet. The male interns who were joking were a little stunned. Why, you don't dare to bet. Bianca smiled. $50, $75, $100. Being told this by a beautiful female colleague, and the target is a male colleague that they envy and hate, the male interns could not stand it, and they raised their bets one by one, and bet against Bianca. Can we bet on Adam's success? Christina raised her hand. Sure, we'll split the bet at that time. Bianca nodded. Then I'll bet on Adam's success too. Fierce Liz raised her hand. Count me in. Meredith also suppressed her distracting thoughts and raised her hand. Alice, who was at the corner, curled her lips, glanced at Stephen beside her, moved her palm, but didn't raise it. If they bet 1 million, even if it meant making the spare tire Stephen unhappy, she would raise her hand and bet with them. She knew Adam's skills the best. Very good and powerful. A small operation like appendectomy would be 100% successful. Seeing that several golden flowers were optimistic about Adam, other male doctors who were not going to participate also got excited and bet on Adam to fail. This was no longer a joke, but a battle of wills. We are all men. Why do you Adam show off so much? Let's get started. Leonard washed his hands in the operating room, put on a mask, walked in with his hands open, let the nurse help him put on the surgical gown, and smiled at Adam who was ready. Adam nodded, looked at the patient's surgical area that was covered and only exposed a piece, stretched out his hand, and said calmly, "Scalpel." Oh yeah. The interns in the observation room upstairs began to make noise, with a sense of making trouble. Leonard glared at them, but didn't say anything. He knew that with Adam's level, this interference would have no effect at all. The reason why he arranged this operation was to make trouble for Dr. Burke and to make Adam famous. The honor of an intern's first operation belongs to the best intern, and this honor belongs only to Adam. Scalpel. The surgical nurse repeated Adam's request and skillfully handed the scalpel to Adam. Adam took the scalpel and cut it open decisively. His skilled and confident posture immediately stunned the crowd watching upstairs. Once an expert makes a move, you can tell whether it is good or not. Forceps. Adam stretched out his hand to signal. Forceps. The operating nurse repeated Adam's request again and handed the forceps to Adam. Clamps. Clamps. Soon, the appendix was removed by Adam, and then he skillfully reversed the stump into the cecum, pulled it up and tied a knot, and finally sutured the wound. Shit, how can he be so skilled? Look at the speed of his suture. This technique is too exaggerated. Is he really just an intern, not a trainee? The interns in the observation room upstairs talked about it, all feeling a little incredible. Then everyone stopped talking, but found that at some point, Dr. Burke stood at the corner and quietly looked at Leonard, who looked up. Good technique, Dr. Burke said, and left. Dr. Duncan, you are amazing. Yes, this level of suturing is enough for professional suturing. Those who love beauty will definitely be willing to pay a high price. The nurses also praised. George, you are in trouble. Christina collected and divided the money with Bianca and others, and reminded, the better Adam performs, the more pressure you will have. If there is anything wrong, you will be scolded by Dr. Burke. The sissy fat boy wanted to cry but had no tears. If he had known this would happen, he would never dare to talk back to Dr. Burke. Now, he can only hope that the operation will go as smoothly as Adam's. However, the gap between people is sometimes really despairing. An hour later, Dr. Burke vented his anger towards George. Get out of the way, idiot. Let him go out and don't be an eyesore in my operating room. P.S. Thanks to book friend 160601201604275 for the reward. Chapter 293. A real man never looks back. Observing the operating room. A few minutes ago, Leonard and Adam were completely autonomous, and he just stayed by the side to admire, and by the way, he looked at Dr. Burke, who was watching from a distance to have a good time. The sissy little fat man George O'Malley took a deep breath, and under the guidance of the attending doctor Dr. Burke, he began to perform the appendectomy. This is the normal process. The attending doctor guides, and the interns do it. If they can do it, they will do it step by step. If they can't do it, they will get out of the way. How far they can do it depends entirely on the degree of letting go of the attending doctor. Leonard knew Adam's true level, so he completely let go and didn't even say a word of guidance. Dr. Burke originally wanted to kill a chicken to scare the monkey, so he was naturally worried about the sissy little fat man's ability. Use a little force. Human muscles are very hard. Cut it down. When the sissy little fat man really removed the appendix, Dr. Burke's face was very complicated. According to the original script, he really wanted George to fail to complete it, and then he would scold him severely. But with Adam as an example, if George performed very poorly, wouldn't it mean that his intern was not as good as Leonard's? To go further, why did the hospital assign him such a bad intern and assign the best intern to Leonard? Did they have any problem with him? Although he knew it was not the case, he couldn't help but think so. This made him very entangled. Be careful not to break the appendix. Seeing that George's movements were a bit fierce after removing the appendix, obviously because of his self-confidence, Dr. Burke finally chose to remind him in advance. This kind of comparative surgery must not be compared with Leonard. Too much. There are many opportunities to kill the chicken to scare the monkey. Not just this time. George heard it and nodded, but his movements did not mean to pause at all. What emerged in his mind was Adam's silky surgical movements and Meredith's support for Adam. Adam can do it, and George can do it too. Meredith, you see the manly side of me. George O'Malley. In the mask, the sissy fat boy George showed a confident smile. Then, you broke the appendix. Dr. Burke's face darkened, and the intention of giving George a good lesson completely disappeared. A rotten tree cannot be carved, so he might as well be killed like a chicken to vent his anger. You dared to talk back in front of the patient. He's bleeding now, and feces are overflowing. What are you going to do? The confident George was already confused. His technique was as smooth as Adam's. How could this happen? Think about it, Dr. Burke reminded. You have to start suctioning, and find those sutures before he loses too much blood. He said to the nurse again, give him a clamp. The blood pressure is dropping, the nurse reminded. George stood there, motionless. This state is very common among novices, that is, in extreme tension and fear. The mind is empty and the body is lost. Put aside your fear today and start taking action. What are you waiting for? Suction. Dr. Burke still has professional ethics. He fulfilled the last duty of a teaching teacher and gave George the last chance, But George was still confused. The blood pressure monitor began to alarm. "Dr. Burke," the nurse began to warn, "get out of the way, idiot. Get him out. Don't get in my way in the operating room." Dr. Burke pushed the stunned George away and went on himself. He quickly stopped the bleeding, restored the blood pressure, and then sutured the wound. George kept his hands open and looked up at his colleagues on the second floor, his eyes full of shame. Before, he really thought he could do it. "He's 007. Yes, 007. What is 007? The Queen's super agent, with a license to kill legally." Everyone was talking about it. Adam, who was delighted with the system's points, looked up at the male intern who spoke first, stood up and left without looking back, and thought to himself, could it be a strong enemy? Seeing him leave, Adam didn't think much about it, and happily looked at the plus 0.001 life prompt on the system panel. "Since I figured out the systematic rule of doing good deeds in person, gaining merits, and increasing lifespan 11 years ago and decided to embark on a life plan of an ordinary doctor, this is the first gorgeous flower that has bloomed after 11 years of hard work." Plus 0.001 lifespan may seem small, but this is just an appendectomy. I helped an old lady cross the road and massaged the old man's waist for half a year, and it was only plus 0.05. And saving a kid crossing the road plus 0.01. With this calculation, a non-life-saving operation can add plus 0.001, which is really cost-effective, because it only takes less than half an hour. 50 operations, at a frequency of 10 operations a day, only take 5 days, which is equivalent to the busy work of half a year. Of course, there are definitely not so many operations for an intern to perform. If one operation is performed a day, there are 365 days a year, and if we work 300 days, 1 times 300 times 0.001 equals 0.3 years. At this stage, before a major life-saving operation can be performed, the lifespan consumption has changed from 1 point per year to 0.7 points per year, which greatly reduces the consumption rate and prolongs lifespan. With a little more effort and Leonard's greater support, maybe after 1 year of internship, when he becomes a real resident, the lifespan gained will be equal to the lifespan consumed, and Adam won't have to worry about dying young. I just don't know how many lifespan points I can gain by helping out, but we'll know soon, because there will be a heart bypass operation in a few days. Leonard is recommending Adam to participate. According to Adam's speculation, this kind of participation can also be regarded as doing good deeds in person, and it should be able to add points, but it should not be as good as performing a minor operation as the main surgeon. But the advantage is that a little adds up to a lot, and it's never too much to add lifespan. The first round of 48-hour shifts is still going on. Late at night, Bianca opened her mouth deeply and shook her head hard to dispel the sleepiness. "Take a nap if you feel sleepy." Adam smiled and said, "Doctors, especially residents, can't make it if they don't have the ability to catch up on sleep anytime and anywhere." "Then why are you so energetic?" Bianca envied. "I have good endurance." Adam smiled reservedly and said, "I can survive 48 hours without sleep." "I can do it too. I'll go have a cup of coffee." Bianca opened her mouth again. "Drink less coffee." Adam remembered that she was ruined by shameless people because of cancer in the future, and couldn't help but remind her, "Take a nap. I'll help you watch. I'll call you if there are any problems." Drinking coffee has nothing to do with cancer, but coffee has caffeine, which is a central nervous system stimulant. Excessive intake of anything is not a good thing, let alone a nervous system stimulant. Just as Sheldon met the Flash in his dream, the Flash told him, "Why is the Hulk so powerful? He took too many steroids." Why does Batman hide during the day and go out at night to fight with people at night? He drank too much. Sheldon never drinks coffee, but after being inspired by the Flash in his mind, he drank a cup of energy drink with caffeine, and he was so high that he couldn't stop. In the real world, if you spend too much money on Krypton, you won't have superpowers. If you spend too much money on steroids, you won't become the Hulk, but men will turn into women and women will turn into men, which is a bit like the Book of the Golden Flower. If you drink too much, you won't turn into Batman, but you will get cirrhosis of the liver and liver cancer." "Thank you." Bianca looked at Adam gratefully. Her eyes were watery, and she was suddenly not sleepy anymore. Chapter 294, Bronze Medical Center disguised as the king. The first round of 48-hour duty entered the first late night. Bianca's eyes were watery because of Adam's scaring words. She stared at Adam and was no longer sleepy. Adam laughed dumbly and shook his head in silent refusal. "This is a hospital. There are no secrets at all." He didn't want to leave any handle. "Hey, Adam, guess who almost hit a home run in the duty lounge just now?" Bald Chris opened his hands and walked over, twisting and jumping. "Almost? It means I didn't succeed," Adam joked. Bald Chris's smile froze, but he quickly recovered and said proudly, "This is because she was called away. Otherwise I would definitely hit a home run. We have just met for less than 12 hours, and my pants are taking off." "Who is she?" Bianca asked curiously. "Kara, the nurse from the internal medicine department," Bald Chris said quickly. "She's a Hispanic woman, very beautiful. At first I was worried that we would scare her if we progressed too fast, but she told me to shut up and take off my pants. She was so charming." Bianca heard this and looked at Adam. Her eyes flickered slightly. "I'll go to the ward," Adam said, and turned and left. He studied medicine and stayed in the hospital to increase his lifespan, not to work the night shift in the hospital. Moreover, he didn't have the superpower of a god who could eliminate all the sources of disease, so it was better not to join in on this topic. "Dude, wait for me." Bald Chris didn't have enough time to chat, so he chased Adam away, leaving Bianca, who was a little sleepy after the excitement. Nurse's station. "The patient in bed 4B has post-operative pneumonia. Give him an antibiotic injection." The cool male intern was giving medical advice, and Adam thought that the other party might be his strong competitor, so he stopped and listened carefully. Jushiran said, "Be close to your friends, and even closer to your enemies." "Are you sure the diagnosis is correct?" the nurse on the other side asked doubtfully. "I don't know, I'm just an intern." The cocky male intern looked at the medical record book, not even looking at the nurse, and taunted, "I have a good idea. Why don't you go to medical school and study hard for 4 years, and then let me know if the diagnosis is correct or not." The nurse didn't want to talk anymore. Although there is a slogan in their profession, doctors are only responsible for diagnosis, and nurses are the ones who really treat, and nurses are the boss. But without the golden doctoral degree of medical school, facing the ridicule of the half-baked intern, she really couldn't fight back. "She is short of breath and has a fever. This is a sequela of the operation." Seeing that the nurse was suppressed by himself, the cocky male intern said confidently, "Start injecting antibiotics." The nurse glanced at him coldly and left without saying a word. "They are only responsible for the operation. The right to make medical orders belongs to the doctors, but the responsibility also belongs to the doctors." "Who is afraid of who?" "God. I hate nurses." The cocky male intern was full of superiority. Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing when he saw this scene. "I thought he was a champion, but he turned out to be a bronze." "What are you laughing at?" The cocky male intern looked over and said unhappily, "You may hate them even more in the future." Adam smiled and said, "Because if their reminders are correct, and you who went to medical school for 4 years are wrong." "Impossible." The cocky male intern's face changed. "What's impossible?" Adam asked curiously. "The symptoms you just mentioned. Similar ones include diaphragmitis, pulmonary embolism and other unknown conditions." The nurse just now is also an old nurse with rich experience. "You didn't even check her, but just said she was wrong. Are you really so sure?" The cocky male intern's face turned pale. If it were another doctor, he might not care, or even directly mock the other party for being a nurse. But Adam's level has long been recognized with the perfect performance of the first operation, and Adam's legendary performance during medical school and internships in major hospitals has also been circulated. Such a powerful person, even as conceited as he is, dare not say that he is better than Adam, let alone mock Adam for being a nurse. Adam said that he was very likely wrong, so the probability that he was wrong was very high, but he could not correct it immediately. How fun it was to mock the nurse just now. How embarrassing it was to correct it in front of the nurse now. And just because the probability was relatively high, it did not mean that he was definitely wrong. What if his judgment was correct? Thinking of this, the male intern with a dark face left. That's very well said. A pretty young nurse looked at Adam with shining eyes. Thank you. The old nurse thanked Adam. You're welcome. Adam smiled and said, my mother is also a nurse. After connecting with the nurses, Adam left the nurse station. Adam, why are you doing this? Bald Chris couldn't help but say, we are doctors. So? Adam looked at him strangely. Doctors and doctors are in the same group. Nurses and nurses are in the same group. Bald Chris said, this is the basic rule. Even if Alex did something wrong, we should pretend not to know. How can we say that to the nurses? The cool male intern was called Alex. He was also one of the 20 surgical interns in this group, but not in other groups. Kara, you're here. Adam smiled and looked behind Bald Chris. You did the right thing. What's wrong with nurses? Are nurses inferior to doctors? Impossible. They are all jobs. No one can be missing. Nurses are also an important part of the hospital. Bald Chris's voice immediately turned 180 degrees, and he smiled back. Kara, I support you. Looking back, there was no nurse. Kara, you scared me. Bald Chris caught up with Adam, who had already walked away, and said dissatisfiedly, are you scared? Adam smiled casually while reading the medical records. Scared. Bald Chris was about to say he wasn't afraid, but he still looked around worriedly. He had just hooked up with Nurse Kara and hadn't gotten started yet. If this inexplicable position problem ruined his chance, he would be at a loss. You're right to be afraid. Adam patted him on the shoulder. Don't think you can talk nonsense when Kara isn't here. There are no secrets in the hospital. Anything you say that's bad about nurses will reach Kara's ears. Do you still want to hit a home run then? On the other hand, Adam's words for the nurses will also be widely circulated, and will definitely make most nurses feel good about him. With Leonard's support above, Zuni's care in the middle, and the nurses' full help below, what's the big deal about offending a bronze intern colleague who pretended to be a king but was persuaded to quit at some point? P.S. Thanks to Tong Yaya and Kang Ha Yishinkwa for the reward. Chapter 295 Death Elementary School Student, Medical Center. 24th hour of the first 48-hour shift. Hospital cafeteria. Everyone sat together, except Adam. All of them were a little depressed. They called me 007, the sissy fat boy, George said aggrievedly. No one called you 007. Several girls closed their eyes and comforted him weakly. Don't lie to me. I heard them whispering in the elevator. George had an expression of I know everything, so don't comfort me. But I'm lying. You'd better comfort me. Don't be depressed. Adam smiled and said, Alex, the first one to call you that, is a typical 007 himself. What? George was stunned. Christina and several other girls were no longer sleepy, and they all looked over with gossip. Adam told her about the diagnosis of Alex before. This bastard, George said angrily. He was so careless, and he even had the nerve to be the first to mock me. I didn't expect him to be such a person. Meredith said with some disappointment. A woman's intuition about backups can be called a superpower. Alex looked at her with a very obscene look, but because he was a little handsome, she didn't dislike him deep down, but his unprofessional style made her a little unacceptable. Haha. George suddenly laughed when he saw Goddess Meredith like this. Everyone looked at him in surprise. Christina said directly, George, are you depressed and stupid? Depressed? George shook his head and laughed. Although I failed the previous operation and was called 007, Alex is also 007. Isn't it funny? Compared with him, what should I be depressed about? And I just comforted one of my patients. Their joy is my joy. How did you comfort him? Adam looked at him strangely. It was Tony, who was going to have a heart bypass surgery. George explained. He and his wife were a little worried, so I told them that Dr. Burke's level is very high, and this kind of operation will definitely be no problem. I promise. You promise? 7. The other 7 people including Adam shouted in unison. What's wrong? George looked confused. Are you a relative of the dean? Adam asked curiously. No. George was confused. Why do you say that? If not, then how did you get in? Adam exclaimed. No matter how good the doctor is, no matter how confident the operation is, there are risks. Therefore, as a doctor, You should never make any promises to patients and their families. This is basic common sense, don't you know? Mrs. Savage is so worried. I just want to reassure them. And Dr. Burke is so good. He said the risk is very small. George was at a loss. Don't worry. You won't be so unlucky, Fierce Liz comforted. Yes, since Dr. Burke said the risk is very small, then it is really very small, Meredith echoed. It's hard to say. Wherever 007 goes, people will die, Christina said venomously. And don't you realize that George has bad luck? If it were someone else with such a small probability, nothing would happen. But when it comes to George, seeing that everyone was staring at her, and Meredith and others were obviously dissatisfied, she had to apologize. I'm sorry, George, I get a bit bad temper when I'm tired. George forced a smile, and fell into the worry of I am the elementary school student of the god of death, and the whole person was a bit unwell. Natsui hates me even more. Fierce Liz also talked about her troubles. Mr. Jones's blood vessels are fragile and need to be injected with antibiotics. I should do a central venous catheter. I know I shouldn't disturb her rest, but I have never done it before. So you still woke her up? Adam smiled. Yes, after she did it. She told me that next time I can only call her when Mr. Jones is dying and his toes are about to be hung up. Cruel Liz supported her head with her hands and said tiredly, she hated me before, and now she must hate me even more. Maybe I will have to do rectal examinations every day in the future. I agree with this. Christina raised her hand. Interns take turns to do rectal examinations, so everyone should be the boss and not say the second one. If Cruel Liz is punished to do the rectal examination, Christina and her friends in the same group will be happy, but Cruel Liz will probably have a nickname, Excrement Collector, Chrysanthemum Monster. For a beautiful doctor, these nicknames are too embarrassing. Meredith, how is your epileptic girl? I heard that she had an emergency in the early morning, Adam asked casually while eating. This kind of communication between doctors is very necessary. After all, the cases a person encounters are always limited. More communication means more knowledge, but it is limited to verbal communication. For example, Adam knows how to do the central venous catheterization that Fierce Liz mentioned just now. If it was George or other doctors, they would definitely help. It is a man's instinct to show off in front of a beautiful woman. But Adam did not mention helping Fierce Liz, because it is not his place to intervene. Fierce Liz's boss is Dr. Miranda Bailey, a Nazi, and the big boss is Dr. Burke. When she encounters a problem, she can only go to Nazi. If Nazu can't handle it, she can go to Dr. Burke. No matter how good Adam is, he is just an intern at the same level and in a different group as her. Interfering is a violation of the rules. If something goes wrong, Adam will be in big trouble. As for the fact that there will be no problems if the technology is good, this is the illusion of George, the relative of the dean who is suspected to have entered through the back door. Adam will not make such a low-level mistake, and he doesn't need to pretend to attract beautiful women. Most of the time, it's just the opposite. Don't mention her. Meredith frowned when she heard it. It's just a remake of the story of the boy who cried wolf. She pretended to be sick because she was bored and tricked me into coming. She said that the TV in the ward couldn't receive her stupid beauty pageant and asked me to find someone to fix it. Please, I'm a doctor, not a repairman. Later, she really had a seizure. I thought she was still pretending, so I went a little late and almost couldn't be rescued. Afterwards, Dr. Shept blamed me and said that I should have taken care of her the whole time. I hate such patients. There was another sentence she didn't say. She hated Dr. Shept even more. He used dirty words before and his eyes seemed to want to swallow her. But she just refused for a while. When there was a problem, he took advantage of the situation and not only didn't comfort her, but also bullied her. You know, this kind of life and death stimulation almost made her unable to bear it. Even if she was lucky enough to save the patient in the end, the fear made her run directly outside the hospital to vomit. Damn man, no manners at all. Beep, beep, beep. Suddenly, everyone's pager started beeping. Chapter 296 Competition. Medical Center. In the restaurant, the beeping of pagers filled the air. What's going on? Christina asked in surprise. Something must have happened. Let's go. Adam stood up and called out. The surgical interns in groups of 3 or 4 also did the same thing. When passing by the nurse station, Adam saw the cool bronze Alex, who was pretending to be a king. "Did you call me again?" Alex felt guilty and a little annoyed. "Yes," the old nurse reported expressionlessly. "The patient in bed 4B is still short of breath. It takes time for antibiotics to take effect." Alex had a bad feeling in his heart, but he still said stubbornly, "The antibiotics should have taken effect long ago." The old nurse retorted. She knew the effect of this common drug better than the doctor. "She's old. A relic." Alex was upset. He glanced at the old nurse's doubtful eyes. He also noticed that Adam and others were looking at him. He said coldly, "Thank God that you can breathe. I have a patient downstairs. That patient is not from the Civil War period, so don't call me anymore." After that, he stuffed the medical records to the old nurse and walked away. How could he do this? The cruel Liz was the first one who couldn't accept it. She stepped forward to find Alex to argue. "Don't go." Christina held her back and advised, "We have to rush to the meeting. Don't worry about it. Someone will take care of it when something goes wrong. Let's go," Adam said and left. "Adam." Fierce Liz walked quickly to Adam and stopped him, her eyes wide open, with an expression that said, "I'm very disappointed in you. Shouldn't we take care of this kind of thing? It's a matter of life and death for the patient. She's just short of breath, not critically ill." Adam frowned and said, "If the condition worsens, Alex's boss will naturally deal with it. We are just interns from other groups and have no right to take care of this matter." "But," Fierce Liz's saintly heart burst out, knowing that Adam was right, but still unwilling. "No buts," Adam said lightly. "If you are worried, you can go to Alex's boss, or the boss's boss to report it." Fierce Liz paused. Telling tales is a taboo in the workplace, and no one likes such people. Now she is no longer liked by the supervisor resident in a QI. If she tells tales across groups and levels again, she will really become a dung collector and a chrysanthemum monster. She is a saint, but she is not stupid, so she hopes Adam will come forward. Unexpectedly, Adam didn't buy her trick at all, and directly counterattacked, hitting the vital point. "Okay, let's go to the meeting first." Meredith pulled the cruel Liz, who wanted to say something angry, to the meeting room, and as she walked, she advised, "Alex has clearly said not to call him again. When the condition changes slightly, the nurse will definitely call Alex's boss directly." "No problem. I'm just angry about their behavior. Are old people not human beings?" Fierce Liz also walked down the stairs. "We will all get old. When we are old, do we want to be treated like this?" Adam glanced at her and suddenly felt disgusted with such a beautiful, cruel, and seemingly extremely loving blonde girl. He studied psychology and has seen many such cases. Although Fierce Liz looks like a saint, as if she wants to bring light and love to everyone, such people often have no principles and no bottom line. Today she hates Alex, a ruffian who treats old people like dead people. Maybe tomorrow she will love him to death, and then everything that happened today will be completely forgotten by her. This is not nonsense. All saints have the urge to convert the world, and good people do not need to be converted, so they are often attracted to bad people. The worse a man, the greater their urge to convert him. In this process, they are often the first to lose themselves. In order to convert such a bad man, they can forget their previous persistence and principles, and even sacrifice good people. Meeting room. Everyone gathered together. "Do you know what it is?" "I don't know." "It shouldn't be a bad thing. After all, the law does not punish the masses." "That's true." Everyone talked about it. Adam sat there, looking through the case. Christina sat there, took out a banana, and started practicing suturing. "You have great skills." Fatty Stu smiled obscenely. "You want to try?" Christina inserted the needle into the banana, half raised her single eyelids, and had no expression on her face. "There's a chance." Fatty Stu smiled unchanged, not frightened by Christina's threat at all. As a doctor, he was used to practicing suturing with bananas, and he didn't have any bad associations that made his crotch cold. After the first shift, "Let's go out for a drink together." "Oh, please." Several girls rolled their eyes. Adam couldn't help but smile. He knew that the wretched white fat man Stu had said this to all the girls in just 24 hours. The purpose of casting a wide net to catch more fish was naked. The result was also clear at a glance. With his white fat and short figure and extremely wretched temperament, he left a deep impression on everyone. Even the cruel and ferocious St. Liz was too lazy to convert him. Stu didn't care. He laughed, and took the girls' rolling eyes as a compliment. His indomitable spirit was also amazing. "Good morning." At this time, a handsome middle-aged doctor walked in and greeted everyone. It was the attending neurosurgeon, Dr. Derek Shept. "Good morning," everyone responded, but only Meredith's eyes immediately became wrong. "I'm going to do something that surgeons rarely do. I'm going to ask for help from you interns." Dr. Shept walked to Meredith and looked at everyone. "I have a child named Katie Bryce. I still can't figure out the cause of her illness. The medicine we use doesn't work, and there are no abnormalities in the test scans, but she has had multiple epileptic seizures without any signs. She doesn't have much time left. If I don't find the cause of her illness, she will die. So I came to you for help. Because my ideas are limited, I need you to brainstorm to solve this mystery and find out the cause of Katie's illness. I know you are very tired and busy, and you can't finish the things on your hands. I understand, so I will give you some motivation. Whoever finds the answer will be my assistant. Katie will definitely have surgery, and you will do what other interns can't do to assist in this advanced surgery." When everyone heard this, they were all shocked. Their eyes lit up. And when they looked at each other, their eyes were full of competition. Competition. Chapter 297 Great Doctors Style Meeting Room. "Dr. Bailey will send you Katie's medical records. Time is running out, everyone." Dr. Shept motioned for Natui to put the 20 copies of the medical records on the table and let everyone take them. "If you want to save Katie's life, you have to hurry up." After saying that, he left. Everyone immediately stepped forward and took a medical record each. Adam was quick and got it first, then began to read it quickly. Just as Dr. Shept said, if this operation is carried out, it will be an advanced operation, more advanced than the heart bypass operation Leonard was going to take Adam to do. The opportunity is rare and once in a lifetime. "Meredith, let's work together." Christina was the most ambitious. She pulled Meredith and whispered, "You are Katie's attending physician. You have taken care of her from the beginning. You must know more details. Let's work together to find the answer first. The chance of the operation for both of us is 50% each. I can work with you, but I don't want to do the operation." Meredith's face was full of disgust. "You do it." "Are you kidding?" Christina was surprised and happy, and a little bit unbelievable. This level of surgery, not to mention interns, even residents are extremely jealous, and this can be used as a temptation and motivation by Dr. Shept to encourage the exhausted interns to rack their brains. Meredith is also a surgeon. For such a rare opportunity, just give up. "I don't want to do surgery with Shept," Meredith said disdainfully. "What's wrong with Shept?" Christina immediately noticed that there was something wrong between the two, and looked at Meredith with a strange look. "We found the answer. You come to do the surgery. Do you want to?" Meredith said unhappily. "Deal." Christina was overjoyed and pulled Meredith out. "Let's go to the library now." How can such a difficult case be solved without reading a book? Adam closed the medical record book and walked out. Christina glanced at Adam, pulled Meredith and ran directly. Among the 20 interns, she originally thought she was the best. But facing Adam, this confidence immediately disappeared. Now, she has to catch up. This once-in-a-lifetime advanced surgery is an important turning point, and she has already taken the initiative. Christina stopped at the corner and turned around suddenly. She saw Adam standing in front of Dr. Shept, smiling and saying, "Dr. Shept, I have an idea." "Come on, you must be kidding me." Christina didn't believe that Adam could find the answer so quickly, but she still had an ominous premonition in her heart. Her heels were nailed there, and she watched Adam and Dr. Shep's communication over there with worry. "Tell me about it." Dr. Shep's eyes were a little strange. He really didn't expect that someone would give him an answer just after he had explained the task. If it's so easy, then what is he? Based on the medical records, we can rule out hypoxia, renal failure and acidosis. The tomography is normal, and tumors are basically ruled out. Adam said slowly. The white blood cell count is normal, there is no fever, and there is no abnormality in the spinal tap, which basically rules out infection. I know all this, Dr. Shept interrupted. Tell me what you think. I think it may be an aneurysm, Adam said. The court scan showed no bleeding, the patient had no headaches, neck pain, no eczema, no pregnancy, and no trauma. Dr. Shept shook his head and said, so medically, it cannot be proven that she has an aneurysm, but she likes to play gymnastics, and the medical record says that she fell and sprained her leg. Adam explained, it is possible that a fall could cause an aneurysm to rupture. Yes, but the chance is 1 in a million, and that's theoretical. Dr. Shept retorted, is 1 in a million a very small chance? Adam laughed and said, is it smaller than 0 in a million? Isn't it because we can't find the cause of her illness now? If all the tests are fine, then even if the chance is small, it is possible. What's the harm in doing another scan to confirm it? Various tests in the hospital need to be supported by medical theory. Without evidence, various tests cannot be done casually, because every test will be included in the bill in the end. This is also to prevent hospitals from arbitrarily arranging tests and making a lot of money. Moreover, if the cause cannot be found and there is no clear direction for the test, many times even if the test is done, it is likely to be ignored because it is too small and not obvious, and it will not work at all. A minor rupture of an aneurysm is a case of this. Dr. Shept stared at Adam in a trance. He seemed to see someone's shadow in Adam. MRI room. What the hell? Dr. Shept brought Adam here and did a scan. When he saw the tiny crack on the display, he blurted out, arachnoid hemorrhage. Very small, but it is indeed there. She is bleeding inside her brain. When he said this, a smile appeared on his face. As a top neurosurgeon, he was not afraid of intracranial hemorrhage. For a surgical problem, the only thing he feared was not being able to find the cause. Adam, how did you come up with this? Dr. Shept looked at Adam with a complicated look. List all possible causes and rule them out one by one. Adam smiled. When he got the medical record, a 3D model of the human body automatically appeared in his mind. He had read a lot of medical books and knowledge points, and he constantly simulated and compared them to eliminate them, and quickly got the most likely result. Well done. Dr. Shept nodded. How could a top doctor not know the talent and hard work behind Adam's understated explanation? Thank you, Adam reminded. What about assisting in the surgery? Of course it's yours. Dr. Shept closed the medical records and smiled. I'll go inform Katie's parents now. The surgery will be in the afternoon. See you in the operating room. See you in the operating room. Adam was overjoyed. Shept walked a few steps and turned back. You remind me of someone. Who? Adam asked curiously. Shept smiled, but did not answer, and left. When he told Katie's parents that he was helpless, Katie's parents threatened to find a new doctor, but that doctor was not so easy to make an appointment with. Whether in terms of fame or status, that doctor was far better than him, especially good at solving difficult and complicated diseases. He didn't feel embarrassed to transfer the patient to such a brilliant doctor. Now the patient would most likely stay in his hands, but the one who solved the problem was an intern, which made him feel complicated. He didn't know whether he should be thankful for having such an intern, or would rather the patient be transferred to that great doctor. He had never seen such a great intern. Maybe that was the demeanor of that great doctor when he was young. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298 Dr. House Medical Center. Adam came up with a solution, which was approved by Dr. Shept. The news that he would join the advanced neurosurgery in the afternoon spread quickly in the hospital. Those surgical interns who had just started to study Katie's medical records and were ready to do a great job were stunned when they heard the news. The educated ones could only say wow to express their feelings at that moment. Green Clinic. Well done. Leonard naturally got the news. At noon, he called Adam over with a smile on his face. It is no secret who comes in through whom in the hospital and who is whose. For example, The uneducated brother-in-law of the chief of surgery works in the administrative department of the hospital and has embarrassed the chief of surgery. But for the sake of the chief of surgery, everyone in the hospital turned a blind eye. As long as it is not excessive, no one will say anything. Although the relationship between Adam and Leonard is not as obvious as that of the brother-in-law of the chief of surgery, Adam is undoubtedly Leonard's man. If there is a problem, everyone will certainly complain that Leonard is nepotistic. But if Adam is extremely outstanding, it will also make Leonard proud. Burke will probably be angry again. Leonard laughed gloatingly. Why? Adam puzzled. Shept was once a famous doctor in Boston. Leonard smiled and explained. Why did he come to the medical center? Family reasons? Adam said casually. Or career reasons? I don't know if there are family reasons. Leonard smiled. But Richard will retire in a few years. Are you saying that Dr. Shept is here to compete for the position of chief of surgery? Adam suddenly realized. Dr. Burke was originally the only candidate for the next chief of surgery, and now a strong opponent has suddenly come. And this strong opponent has successfully solved a difficult case. Guess who invited Shept? Leonard looked playful. Chief of surgery, Adam blurted out. Yes, Leonard exclaimed. Adam, how did you guess that? Only a few people can invite Dr. Shept, the chief of surgery, the dean, and the hospital board members. Adam analyzed. I haven't had much contact with the dean and the hospital board members, but I can see that the chief of surgery is not someone who will give up power so easily. I heard that Dr. Burke's prestige has been growing in recent years. Everyone thinks he will be the next chief of surgery, and he thinks so too, but the chief of surgery will not retire for several years. Retire? Leonard sneered. The hospital and surgery are everything to him. Here he can control everything. After retirement, he can bear such a huge difference. I think he can't bear it. I saw that Burke retired, but he might not retire. As long as his body allows and the board does not force him to retire, he can continue to work. That's why he invited Dr. Shept to come here, so that he and Dr. Burke can compete and check each other, so that his position can be more stable. Adam understood. This routine has been repeated countless times between emperors and princes for thousands of years. But isn't Dr. Burke the director's man? Adam was still a little confused. Shept is also Richard's man, Leonard explained. Richard has led him before, and they have a close relationship. Adam nodded. Both of them are his own people. No matter who gets the position at that time, it will be a good thing for everyone, which is completely in line with the power structure of the emperor, the crown prince, and the prince. Let's not talk about Burke's depression. Anyway, this opportunity is rare. Leonard smiled and said, Shept is a famous neurosurgeon. You will definitely learn a lot from this advanced operation. In the future, I will let you participate in more major operations, which will be more logical. I will try my best. Adam smiled. The two chatted for a while, mainly listening to Leonard talk about the complicated power relationship in the hospital. Before leaving, Adam suddenly thought of something and asked, Dr. Shept said before that I look like someone. Leonard, do you know who it is? Looks like someone? Leonard was stunned. After asking about the situation at that time, he blurted out, Dr. House. Dr. House? Adam was surprised and said, Are you talking about the famous Dr. House? Yes. Leonard nodded. He is the director of the diagnosis department of the Princeton University Hospital next door in New Jersey. He is good at reasoning. His diagnosis department has an annual budget of $3 million US. He has recruited 3 elite doctors who specialize in solving difficult and complicated diseases. Any case, with a little writing, can be a heavyweight medical paper. After graduation, it is easy for the attending physician to become a department director in other hospitals. Therefore, it is a place for further study that many doctors dream of. What are the conditions for further study? Adam was a little tempted. An intern or resident doing odd jobs is fine, or an independent attending physician is also fine. Leonard smiled and said, It all depends on Dr. House's interest, and he has always had a weird temper. But if you are as outstanding as you will probably be accepted if you apply. However, I don't recommend you to do so. Why? Adam asked curiously. Is there a problem here? He knew that if there was no problem, Leonard would not have blocked his opportunity. Of course there is a problem. Leonard smiled and said, Dr. House is very powerful, but also very strange. In order to solve difficult and complicated diseases, he can go to court at all costs, and he almost had his medical license revoked several times. If he was not famous enough, a living signboard of the hospital, and the dean was his good friend, he would have been fired long ago. Even so, Princeton University Hospital prepares $50,000 in legal fees for him every year, ready to help him with the lawsuit at any time. We often lament that Dr. House is definitely blessed by God and has great luck. Otherwise, other doctors would be screwed in a minute if they encountered any of the things he did. Hearing this, Adam directly gave up the idea of going to Dr. House for further study. With his ability and the platform provided by Leonard, he can grow quickly step by step. There is no need to take the huge risk of revoking his medical license for such further study. According to Leonard, this Dr. House is clearly treated as a protagonist. Although Adam is also a protagonist, before his life is frozen and recorded in film and television dramas, he dare not bet on how strong his protagonist luck is. As for not considering himself as the protagonist, but just following the protagonist Dr. House, don't be ridiculous. No matter how strong the protagonist's luck is, it only covers the protagonist himself. Most of the people who are accidentally injured by the protagonist are the people around him. The risks and benefits are completely unequal. Adam would be crazy to follow such a protagonist for further study. No matter how powerful Dr. House is, he would not consider it. Chapter 299 I saved you. It has nothing to do with you, Green Clinic. Adam, with your ability, you don't need to study with Dr. House. Leonard comforted him. Dr. House also achieved his current fame through his own efforts. If he can do it, so can you. I know. Adam smiled and nodded. He was very confident. After all, he was also a hacker with a system. I heard that your epilepsy patient's family wanted to be transferred to the next door New Jersey to see Dr. House because Shep couldn't find any cause of the disease. Leonard saw that Adam really didn't care, and couldn't help laughing. In the end, he didn't transfer because he couldn't make an appointment. Now that you have solved it, maybe many patients won't need to bother Dr. House in the future. Dr. House often dislikes those patients whose conditions are not complicated enough and is too lazy to deal with them. Many times, it is the doctors under him who don't want to be too idle and bored that take the initiative to accept patients for him. If he finds that he doesn't need to dislike you and there are really no patients when you grow up, that would be funny. I really look forward to seeing that scene. The Princeton University-affiliated hospital where Dr. House works is in the next door New Jersey, and it is also affiliated with the New York metropolitan area. The circle of famous doctors is so small, it is normal for Leonard to know some interesting things about Dr. House. I work hard. Adam was a little fascinated. This is indeed very interesting, but maybe you will never reach the level of Dr. House in your life. Leonard sighed after laughing. You mean I can't be as crazy as him? Adam understood. When talents are the same, it depends on the purity of each other's dowsin. You can't live without being crazy. Yes, Leonard asked. Imagine that the same batch of babies have the same infection. There are two possibilities. Time is urgent. You must confirm which infection it is in order to prescribe the right medicine. Would you choose to use a comparative method to test and kill one to save 5? Adam was silent. This is a difficult choice for doctors. The standard procedure is that all babies use the same treatment, and the doctor is not responsible whether all live or die. But if you sacrifice a baby to confirm the drug, it can indeed save more babies, but the family of the sacrificed baby will sue you to death afterwards. Think about it. Why can other babies survive, but their children are sacrificed like this? No parent can stand this situation. Normal doctors know how to choose. Leonard knew the reason why Adam was silent, and nodded. But Dr. House chose a baby test without hesitation to save other babies. If he was not lucky enough, do you think he could still be a doctor? Adam shook his head. In the United States, the Infant Protection Organization is a very powerful, even terrible organization. Once such a thing is exposed, without amazing luck and protection, it is 100% finished. He often does this kind of thing. Leonard admired. His reasoning ability is indeed powerful, but modern medicine has countless possibilities for the same symptom. Strong reasoning can only help screen out most of them, and the remaining possibilities still need to be verified. The fastest way to verify is to stop or change the medicine directly, but there is not enough theoretical support. This kind of verification is full of uncertainty. Sometimes it will aggravate the patient's condition or even cause the patient's death. It completely destroys the standard process. One lawsuit is accurate. "I'm not as good as him," Adam sighed. "I will never do this step." This is no longer a simple civil lawsuit. In many cases, it is still a criminal lawsuit. Without the luck of the protagonist, the risk of losing the case and going to jail should not be too high. For the sake of the patient, he is willing to sacrifice himself. This is really at all costs. Adam asked himself that he could never do it. If there were no new changes in the system, Adam would never be as good as Dr. House. "Such a person is both terrible and respectable," Leonard said with a complicated expression. "His deeds have gone beyond the medical circle. Many people in other circles know him. Many people scold him, but most people still admire him in their hearts. This is a person who is willing to sacrifice everything to save patients." Of course, maybe he is just a paranoid with severe obsessive-compulsive disorder. He sacrifices everything to save others, which may have nothing to do with the patients at all. "I save you? It has nothing to do with you. I just feel uncomfortable if I don't solve difficult and complicated diseases." I must see his style when I have the chance. Adam sighed in his heart. Maybe be a friend? Whether Dr. House is a genius or not, Adam has no doubt that he is definitely. He may even be a super genius who is not inferior to Sheldon. Such a genius will definitely give him some points. With complicated emotions, Adam left Leonard's office and continued his busy work as an intern, looking forward to the neurological surgery in the afternoon. Observe the operating room. A group of interns gathered in the observation seat again. "That's a bit too much. It's Adam Duncan again." "No way. Who made him so awesome?" "I heard that he is Dr. Green's man." Could it be that Dr. Green came up with the solution and told him secretly? No. Dr. Green is a famous doctor, but not as famous as Dr. Shept. Moreover, this is a neurosurgery operation, not a cardiothoracic surgery. Dr. Shept couldn't think of it, but Dr. Green could. That's hard to say. Dr. Shept asked us to brainstorm. Maybe Dr. Green's idea is different and solved the problem. This problem is not difficult at all. It's just that we didn't think of it for a while and Adam got there first. Don't be too proud of losing. Everyone talked about it, and some people started to say weird things. There was no way. They were all interns. They were as humble as dogs and tried their best to please the residents. When they wanted to follow them into the operating room, Adam had already performed one operation after another. It would be strange if this gap didn't cause envy, jealousy and hatred. Why do you have to show off? Fortunately, although Meredith and the others were also envious, as friends, they had good looks to back them up, so it was difficult for them to hate Adam. When they heard these strange words, they still spoke up to help him, so that there was no one-sided situation. "Okay, everyone. Such a sunny afternoon is perfect for saving lives." Dr. Shept came in after washing his hands. While the nurse helped him put on his surgical gown, he smiled at everyone and said, "Let's get started happily." Adam stood beside Dr. Shept as an assistant, and the surgical field of view was very good. This is one of the reasons why interns scrambled to enter the operating room. This surgical field of view is the field of view of the patient, which is more immersive and can better learn the skills of the surgeon. Dr. Duncan. When the aneurysm was removed, Dr. Shept motioned Adam to come forward. He performed surgery on the tiny nerves through an endoscope, and Adam watched it simultaneously through another adjacent endoscope. Adam couldn't control the curvature of his mouth because it felt great. P.S. Thanks to Can I Feel Long, who has no nickname, for the reward. Chapter 300. You've never been in love, have you? Evening. Medical Center Cafeteria. Adam, how are you so amazing? Christina couldn't help herself any longer and asked in great confusion. Meredith and I just teamed up and were about to go to the library to look up the cause of the disease, and you've already found it. How did you do it? I looked through the books, too. Adam pointed to his temple. I was lucky to find it. You mean you remembered it all in your mind? Christina said in disbelief. All of it? Of course not. Adam shook his head. Huh, I said. Christina breathed a sigh of relief. She is also a genius. with 2 doctoral degrees at a young age, but she does not have a visual memory, and her memory depends entirely on understanding and hard work. Medical books are vast, and remembering common cases and medical methods is already qualified. Those who are more knowledgeable, have read more cases, remember the general content, and can find and apply what they remember when they encounter it in the book, which is excellent. But remembering a large amount of information, understanding it, and being able to think of it at the first time when encountering a problem, and integrating it together and applying it, is not something that ordinary geniuses can do. Dr. House, the awesome doctor in New Jersey next door, is such a person, so he can be the director of the diagnostic department and lead 3 elite doctors who are experts in various fields to solve difficult and complicated diseases. Almost all medical knowledge is in his brain. A patient's inconspicuous action, which other doctors can't detect at all, can already determine what disease the patient is most likely to have based on this. With extremely rich medical knowledge and practical experience, he has thought of everything that can be thought of. You are standing on the 1st floor, and he may be standing on the 5th floor. The modern medical system of deepening specialization and specialization seems to be non-existent for him. He is almost all-round. This is the reason why he is so awesome. After Adam checked Dr. House's resume after the operation, he became more and more convinced that this was the absolute protagonist in a certain film, television, a drama or novel, because there is no such an awesome person in reality. Christina is ambitious. How could she not know about a big shot like Dr. House? When she heard Adam flipping through the book in her mind, she subconsciously made an association. When she saw Adam shaking his head, she was relieved. If Adam really has the talent of Dr. House, then no matter how confident she is, she can only be far behind him. Why compete with Adam? She might as well just follow Adam and shout 666. Adam knows Christina's mentality very well, so he omitted the second half of the sentence. I just memorized all the books I read in my mind, and it just so happens that I read a lot of books. If he really said it, Adam seriously suspected that he would lose a lot of friends. You are so lucky, Christina envied. This kind of opportunity is so rare. Actually, it may not be a bad thing for you. Adam smiled. That's a good thing? Christina rolled her eyes and said, tell me about it. I want to learn more. It's very simple. If it wasn't me who found the cause first, but you did, who would do the surgery? The operating room has limited space, and Dr. Shep can't let both of you in. Adam reminded, who goes and who doesn't will definitely affect your sisterly relationship. Meredith said she won't go. Christina retorted, that means there's no need to choose at all. Haha. Adam laughed. What are you laughing at? Christina said unhappily. That's it? Adam asked curiously. Do you really believe it? What Christina said is true. I said I gave up before. Meredith's unique voice sounded. Okay. Adam shrugged. I believe it. Meredith's mouth twitched. Do you dare to be more perfunctory? Meredith is really going to give up. Christina already knew about the mess between Meredith and Dr. Shep, and trusted Meredith very much. Therefore, she couldn't stand Adam's perfunctory attitude. She ignored Meredith's objection and leaned close to Adam's ear to tell him the story. That's it, Adam said calmly. He was no longer surprised that the intern hooked up with the attending physician, the teacher of the boss's boss. They were all basic operations. This was not the first pair, nor would it be the last pair. If it was before he gradually had high-definition image-like memory and the ability to evolve the stars and the sea in his mind, he might still be a little entangled. After all, a super second-generation doctor, with the chief surgeon taking care of him above and the attending physician boyfriend caring for him below, would definitely snatch many opportunities that belonged to him. But now, with these two super talents and super physical fitness, he has enough accumulation, and his strength is far beyond that of the intern. When such an opportunity came out, Adam took it directly on the spot with absolute strength, and Meredith and others had no chance even if they wanted to go through the back door. After all, the surface of fairness still needs to be maintained. Isn't that enough? Christina was a little confused. You've never been in love, have you? Adam looked at her strangely. You take the quarrels between the young couple seriously? You can coax them at that time. What's there to be angry about? Unless Dr. Shep is a straight man, or simply ignore Meredith in the future. Otherwise, Do you think he will risk Meredith's lifelong regret and give you this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for advanced surgery? Christina was speechless, and she felt bad. There was something wrong with her eyes when she looked at Meredith. As a person whose rationality overwhelmed her sensibility with an absolute advantage, she had indeed never been in love. Of course, this does not mean that she has no unspeakable things. In this regard, she and Adam are actually very similar. They are more than friends, and lovers will never be satisfied. In fact, when she was at Harvard Medical School, she lived with a professor of technical authority whom she admired for 2 or 3 years. But when faced with the other party's proposal, she chose to leave without any feeling. Therefore, in this regard, her vigilance was indeed not high, and she did not expect there was such a possibility. Yes, despite Meredith's disgust, Dr. Shept is handsome and authoritative, and can be called Mr. Dream. Facing such a person, how long can Meredith keep her disgust? I'm afraid a bright smile will melt Meredith. And after melting, what will Meredith choose? She is rational and has her own answer in her heart. Meredith opened her mouth to speak, but under Adam's persuasive sincerity gaze, she thought about it and found that what Adam said was too reasonable. If that happens, her sensibility will make her choose to give up. After all, this is what she promised her good sister. But rationality tells her that as a surgeon, she must not give up this opportunity. At that time, she really doesn't know who will win between sensibility and rationality. Or she doesn't want to think about it anymore. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.